Welcome, everybody, to the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners meeting. This is our regular meeting, and today is June 24th, 2026, and we are starting at 6:03 p.m. Roll call.
President Lestracco.
Here.
Vice President Partha.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner DeLessio.
Here.
Commissioner Zipfel.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, do I have an approval of the agenda? Oh, before we do the approval of the agenda, I wanted to announce that on Wednesday, June 27th, we had an executive meeting regarding contract negotiations. Do I have an approval of the agenda with flexibility because we have some timing issues?
So moved.
It was June 17th, I'm sorry. Let me say that again. We had an executive meeting on Wednesday, June 17th, and that was regarding contract negotiations. Sorry about that. And next, I would like to do an approval of the agenda with flexibility. We have just a couple slight changes. Pledge allegiance. You're right. I forgot that. Hold on. Before we do that, I'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice President Partha, would you be able to guide us and lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. President Lestracco, the reason why she's a little nervous today, it's her birthday, and we did a little surprise, so we're going to sing a little. We would hope that the young ladies, Corinne, might want to help us sing, but if they would, join us in and sing Jen a little happy birthday before we kick off. So you ready?
Let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
President Lestracco.
President Lestracco. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Jen, for serving on your birthday.
Thank you so much. That's why I forgot the Pledge of Allegiance.
I know,
That's why.
we rattled you back there because we knew you were.
Okay. Sorry about that. We're going to do an approval of the agenda with flexibility, please, because we have some changes, little slight changes that we wanted to make. In terms of number 8 and number 9, I'd like to flip those. So number 9 will be before number 8, please. That would be my change, and then we have a slight change with the Juneteenth presentation. Because we have 2 presentations, so we're just going to do one in the beginning and one towards the end of the meeting. Do I have approval?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Vice President Partha, seconded by Commissioner DeLessio. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Citizens' comments. We will take citizens' comments on agenda items only, and you may come to the microphone and state your name and your address. Okay, seeing none, we will move to consent items, and these consent items will be the Board of Commissioners meeting minutes from May 13th and May 27th, Treasurer's report from June, the bills payable for $260,671.30, and unpaid bills for $539,903.12. And we also have the VMSC monthly report, and that's from May. Do I have a motion for these consent items?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Vice President Partha, second by Commissioner Zipfel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, next we have, we're going to be doing a special item tonight. We have a lot of guests here. We would like to do today a proclamation recognizing Bangladeshi Day, which is coming up this Saturday. And Vice President Partha, would you like to join me at the podium? Sure. Okay. Okay.
Sure.
A little brighter over there. Okay.
And then
Vice President
And then
Partha,
me.
I just want to thank you. for starting this event, this cultural event that will be this coming Saturday. And we have a proclamation that we would like to share tonight. This proclamation is declaring the last Saturday of June of every year as Bangladeshi Day in Hatfield Township. Whereas Bangladesh is a nation rich in culture, history, tradition, resilience, whose people have made meaningful contributions throughout the world. And whereas Hatfield Township is proud to be home to a vibrant and growing Bangladeshi American community whose residents contribute significantly to the social, cultural, educational, civic, and economic strength of our community. And whereas Bangladeshi Americans in Hatfield Township serve as business owners, professionals, educators, healthcare workers, community leaders, students, volunteers, and devoted families who help enrich the character and diversity of our township. And whereas the Board of Commissioners recognizes the importance of celebrating the traditions, heritage, and achievements of the Bangladeshi American community while fostering an environment of inclusiveness, mutual respect, and unity among all residents. And whereas establishing an annual Bangladeshi Day provides an opportunity for all residents to recognize and appreciate the many contributions made by Bangladeshi Americans and to reaffirm Hatfield Township's commitment to supporting and welcoming people of all backgrounds and cultures. And whereas the last Saturday of June of each year shall serve as a day of celebration, recognition, cultural appreciation, and community pride for Bangladeshi Americans living in Hatfield Township and beyond. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the last Saturday of June of every year as Bangladeshi Day in Hatfield Township, and encourages all residents to recognize and celebrate the important contributions, heritage, and continued positive impact of the Bangladeshi American community. And this is adopted today, June 24th, 2026, and it's signed by myself and Aaron Bebro, our township manager. And we felt that it would be most important for you to hear from Vice President Partha, and so he has some words to share, and I'll leave this with you. Okay, you got it.
Thank you, President. And thank you, everyone. Today is celebrating Bangladesh Day. It's very an important day. Would be for the community, especially for the Bangladeshi communities. So I would like to thank everyone in my Bengali language, which is the national language for the Bangladeshis, and then I will translate in English as well. Salamu alaikum ও সকলকে শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আজকের এই ঐতিহাসিক অনুষ্ঠানে উপস্থিত থাকার জন্য আপনাদের সবাইকে আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ। আজকের দিনটি হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপ এবং বাংলাদেশ কমিউনিটির জন্য অত্যন্ত গর্বের এবং স্মরণীয় একটি দিন। আজ আমরা শুধু একটি সংস্কৃতি বা জাতিগোষ্ঠীকে সম্মান জানাতে একত্রিত হয়নি, আমরা একত্রিত হয়েছি যা আমাদের সমাজকে শক্তিশালী করে। বাংলাদেশ একটি সমৃদ্ধ ইতিহাস, সংস্কৃতি, ভাষা এবং ঐতিহ্যের দেশ। পৃথিবীর বিভিন্ন দেশে ছড়িয়ে থাকা বাংলাদেশিরা শিক্ষা, স্বাস্থ্যসেবা, প্রযুক্তি, ব্যবসা, জনসেবা এবং নানান ক্ষেত্রে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ অবদান রেখে চলেছেন। হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপেও বাংলাদেশি আমেরিকানরা গর্বিত নাগরিক, ব্যবসায়ী, পেশাজীবী, শিক্ষার্থী, স্বেচ্ছাসেবক এবং কমিউনিটি নেতা হিসেবে আপনাদের সমাজে উন্নয়নে গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভূমিকা পালন করছেন। আজ আমরা অত্যন্ত আনন্দের এবং গর্বের সহিত ঘোষণা করিতেছি যে হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপ প্রতি বছর জুন মাসের শেষ শনিবার বাংলাদেশি ডে হিসেবে উদযাপিত হবে। এই ঘোষণার মাধ্যমে বাংলাদেশি এবং আমেরিকান কমিউনিটির ইতিহাস, সংস্কৃতি, ঐতিহ্য এবং অবদানকে আমরা সম্মান জানানো হচ্ছে। একই সঙ্গে এটি আমাদের টাউনশিপের বৈচিত্র্য এবং ঐক্যের প্রতি অঙ্গীকার ও প্রতিফলন। আজ আমরা বাংলাদেশি আমেরিকান কমিউনিটিকে উদযাপন করছি, তবে একই সঙ্গে হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপের অন্যান্য সকল বৈচিত্র্যময় কমিউনিটির প্রতি আমাদের আন্তরিক শ্রদ্ধা ও কৃতজ্ঞতা প্রকাশ করছি। ভারতীয়, মিশরীয়, পাকিস্তানি, আফ্রিকান, ল্যাটিনো, এশিয়ান, মধ্যপ্রাচ্যের ইউরোপীয় এবং আরও অনেক সংস্কৃতির মানুষ তাদের ঐতিহ্য, ব্যবসা, পেশাগত সাফল্য এবং সমাজসেবার মাধ্যমে আমাদের টাউনশিপকে সমৃদ্ধ করেছে। আজকের এই উদযাপন শুধু একটি কমিউনিটির নয়, এটি আমাদের বৈচিত্র্য, পারস্পরিক সম্মান, বন্ধুত্ব এবং ঐক্যের উদযাপন। বিভিন্ন সংস্কৃতি ও ঐতিহ্যকে সম্মান করার মধ্য দিয়ে আমরা আরও একটি শক্তিশালী, আরও একটি অন্তর্ভুক্তিমূলক এবং আরও একটি ঐক্যবদ্ধ একটি হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপ গড়ে তুলব। এই দিনটি ভবিষ্যৎ প্রজন্মকে বাংলাদেশের সংস্কৃতি, ভাষা, সঙ্গীত, খাবার, ইতিহাস সম্পর্কে জানার সুযোগ করে দেবে। পাশাপাশি এটি বিভিন্ন কমিউনিটির মধ্যে বন্ধুত্ব, সহযোগিতা এবং পারস্পরিক বোঝাপড়া আরও শক্তিশালী করবে। আমরা সেই সকল অভিবাসী পরিবারকেও সম্মান জানাই যারা একটু উন্নত ভবিষ্যতের আশায় আমেরিকা এসেছেন এবং কঠোর পরিশ্রম, সততা এবং নিষ্ঠার মাধ্যমে এই দেশের অগ্রগতিতে অবদান রাখছেন। আমি আমার সহকর্মী কমিশনার বৃন্দ, টাউনশিপের কর্মকর্তা কর্মচারী, কমিউনিটির নেতৃবৃন্দ, স্বেচ্ছাসেবক এবং সকল বাসিন্দাকে আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ জানাই, যাদের সহযোগিতা ছাড়া এই ঐতিহাসিক মুহূর্ত সম্ভব হতো না। আমাদের তরুণ প্রজন্মের প্রতি আমার আহ্বান, নিজেদের ঐতিহ্য নিয়ে গর্বিত হও, নিজেদের কমিউনিটি নিয়ে গর্বিত হও এবং ভবিষ্যতের জন্য প্রস্তুত হও। তোমরাই আগামী দিনের নেতৃত্ব দেবে। আজ বাংলাদেশি ডেকে বার্ষিক উদযাপন হিসেবে প্রতিষ্ঠার মাধ্যমে আমরা শুধু একটি কমিউনিটিকে স্বীকৃতি দিচ্ছি না, আমরা একটি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বার্তা দিচ্ছি। প্রত্যেক বাসিন্দা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, প্রত্যেক সংস্কৃতি মূল্যবান এবং আমাদের বৈচিত্র্যই আমাদের সবচেয়ে বড় শক্তিগুলোর একটি। আসুন আমরা সবাই মিলে সংস্কৃতির মাধ্যমে সেতুবন্ধন গড়ে তুলি, বন্ধুত্বকে আরও দৃঢ় করি, হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপকে আরও সুন্দর এবং আরও অন্তর্ভুক্তিমূলক এবং আরও শক্তিশালী একটি কমিউনিটিতে পরিণত করি। আজকের এই ঐতিহাসিক মুহূর্তে অংশ হওয়ার জন্য আপনাদের সবাইকে অভিনন্দন। আল্লাহ আমাদের কমিউনিটিকে বরকতময় করুক, হ্যাটফিল্ড টাউনশিপকে সমৃদ্ধ করুক, আমেরিকা যুক্তরাষ্ট্রকে শান্তি এবং সমৃদ্ধি দান করুক। ধন্যবাদ। Thank you all. This was a speech in Bengali. Now I will translate in English. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. Today is a historic day for Hatfield Township and for the Bangladeshi American community. We gathered here to celebrate not only a culture and heritage, but also a values that makes our township strong: diversity, inclusion, respect, and unity. Bangladesh is a nation with a rich history, vibrant culture, and resilient people. Across the United States, Bangladeshi Americans have made meaningful contribution in education, healthcare, technology, business, public service, and many other fields. Here in Hatfield Township, Bangladeshi Americans are proud residents, business owners, professionals, students, volunteers, and community leaders. They contribute every day to success and growth of our township. Today, we proudly announce that Bangladeshi Day will celebrate every year in Hatfield Township on last Saturday of June. This declaration recognizes the heritage, culture, tradition, and contribution of Bangladeshi American community. It also a celebration of the diversity that makes Hatfield Township such a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family. While today we're celebrating Bangladeshi American community, we also recognize and appreciate many of diverse community that call Hatfield Township home, including our Indian, Egyptian, Pakistani, African, Latino, Asian, Middle Eastern, European, and many other communities. Each enrich our township through their culture, tradition, business, and civic engagement. Today's celebration is not only about one community. It's about the diversity, friendship, unity that make Hatfield Township a welcome place for everyone. By recognizing and celebrating our different background, we strengthen the bonds and bring us together as a one community. The annual observance this will provide an opportunity for future generation to learn about Bangladeshi history, language, music, food, and tradition, while strengthening the bonds between all communities within our township. We also recognize the sacrifice and hard work of immigrant families who comes to America seeking opportunity, freedom, and a better future for their children. Their dedication and perseverance have helped strengthen our neighborhood, schools, business, and civic institutions. I would like to thank my fellow commissioners, township staff, community leaders, volunteers, and residents whose support made this historic moment possible. To the young people in attendance, I encourage you to be proud of your heritage, proud of your community, and proud of the future you are building. Let us continue to build bridge between culture, strengthen friendship, work together to make Hatfield Township an ever stronger and more welcoming community. Today, as established Bangladeshi Day as an annual observance, we are doing more than recognizing a community. We are affirming a simple but powerful principle that every resident matters, every culture has value, and our diversity is one of our greatest strengths. Thank you for joining us and being part of history. May God bless our community. May God bless Hatfield Township, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Now, we can take some pictures.
Thank you. Yep, we can get some pictures.
This is, she'll bring it for the president. For you.
Thank you so much.
I'm not like
Keep taking much. Find a good one. Ready?
Okay. And so in the spirit of having a Bangladeshi American Cultural Festival, this month we've had a lot of different events and honoring different cultures and different beliefs. And so I would like to offer we'll go back to our first page, the Marion Lawrence Foundation Choir. I'd love for you guys to come up think do we want to move the mic to the middle? The microphone here? Or do they have another place you?
I'm on music duty.
Okay, sorry. We got it. I want to thank Corinne Landauer, our state constable, and the Marion Lawrence Foundation for being part of our Juneteenth celebration this year, and also being part of our police station grand opening celebration. Because they did such a great job at our Juneteenth celebration, I was proud to ask them to sing again for our Chief of Police, Chief Tierney. So with that, in celebrating Juneteenth, I would love to have you sing again. Thank you.
Good evening, Hatfield Township. I'm so happy to live in a township that celebrates diversity. Thank you so much to President Lestraka. Thank you for leading on this issue. We appreciate you. Thank you to all of the commissioners. Thank you, Aaron, for all of your assistance with Juneteenth as well. My name is Corinne Landauer, and these are the Marion Lawrence Foundation singers. I'm just going to give them a moment to introduce themselves.
I'm Ava.
I'm Bella. Ava.
Layla.
Michael.
Niara.
And we are going to sing just one verse of a song that is really impactful in the Black community to celebrate Juneteenth. And the song is Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing to the Lord that heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let every sound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has done. Sing a song full of the hope that the burning
Thank you so much, Hatfield Township.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Our second part of the Juneteenth presentation tonight, we're going to save for the end of this meeting so that our speaker can get here. And I know she has some other things she's bringing to this meeting. So we'll save, and her name's Carmina Taylor. She comes to many of our meetings. So we'll save her for the end as she has not yet arrived. But as a recap of the month, as I said, we've celebrated Juneteenth. We've also celebrated Pride Month this month, and I want to thank everybody who has been a part of those two celebrations. Also, I want to thank everybody who was part of the police station grand opening celebration, which was this past Saturday, and what an event that was as well. So we just have some photos just for your perusal tonight, and if you can't see them tonight, we will have those posted on our township website and of course on our Hatfield Township Facebook group. And of course I want to give a huge thank you to our township manager Aaron Bebro, who's here tonight over here. Thank you for helping get all of those events together, and especially with the police station, and Commissioner Zitfeld, you were a big part of that, and Commissioner Jerry Andrus, a huge part of that. So I want to just thank you, everybody, for the day and for making it happen through all these years, so before my time. So thank you very much. Okay. So as we voted to approve the agenda with flexibility, I would like to move to number 9, which is action items. After we do the action items, we'll move to the public hearing, which is number 8. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Because I sometimes miss things, but it did not miss anything, correct? Okay, we're going to go to number 9, action items. For letter A, open space ordinance authorizing a referendum.
Thank you, President LaStrunk. I'll take this one from here. Tonight's only action item is simply the commissioners would have to authorize an advertisement and schedule a public hearing for this item, which would be at the next meeting at the end of July. I'm going to go through a few slides here explaining exactly what this action item is, and would be happy to answer any questions. But again, there'll be a public hearing on this topic in July. So on tonight's agenda, we're talking about an open space referendum. So what this is if the commissioners decide to move this forward and we go through the public hearing and adopt the ordinance, it would then move to a referendum. So ultimately, what happens over the next few slides that I show and the end result is really up to our residents in Hatfield Township. So what does this mean? Just to give you some context, a few of our neighbors have already enacted a open space tax. Lower Salford most recently, Franconia, New Britain, and Bucks County. Currently, the municipal EIT rate, so the earned income tax rate, not the real estate tax, the earned income tax rate is 0.5%. You see in purple the other communities in our region that have already enacted such tax. What is being proposed is an ordinance that could raise an earned income tax up to 0.25. An important clarification is that the commissioners annually, when the budget is adopted, has then the ability, if this would be approved by our voters, they would have the ability to adjust that rate within that range, never to exceed 0.25, and could go any place below 0.25. So what does this mean to the residents in Hatfield Township? Depending on your income, obviously, since this is an earned income tax, if you have a $50,000 salary, this would be an increase of $125 annually. And then you can see on the screen and do the math, then it goes from there depending on your personal situation. A $100,000 salary is a $250 increase annually, and $150 then would be a $375 increase annually. And what exactly is this? So one of the things the township has done over the years was develop an open space plan. It was approved originally in 2005, updated for this presentation. What you see here in the light shade of green is every undeveloped property in Hatfield Township that is over 10 acres. So this, if enacted, would give the ability for the commissioners in the township to raise funds to acquire open space, to preserve, to improve parks and recreation, and to improve other facilities such as trails and other open space amenities. So I do want to go over with the commissioners and the public just the language and why it would appear this way as you move forward. And if this does become on a ballot, it would be at the general election in November, and the language would be exactly what you see here. And the reason it is lengthy and maybe not perfectly clear is that there are a lot of legal requirements, state requirements on what language must be included in these types of referendums. So you can see in bold, the purpose of this potential 25.25% tax would be to acquire land and other interests in real property, and to preserve undeveloped land and expand opportunities for outdoor recreation. That is the mission and the goal behind this. The maximum rate, if imposed by the commissioners moving forward, would generate roughly a little over $2 million per year, which would allow the township to then pursue certain properties to preserve, to improve certain parks and recreation, other trail connections. Again, that would be the maximum, not to exceed. It could certainly go under as well. Just to get a sense of the process, commissioners, tonight we're talking about advertising an ordinance. So if this would go through tonight, you will see an advertisement in the newspaper 3 times over the next 3 weeks to give proper notice. Then a public hearing on July 22nd in this room to discuss and answer any questions that might come up. If at that point the ordinance is then approved, it is sent to the county and it will appear on the November 3rd election ballot. So that is the process. This is really something that the residents ultimately decide. So I'm giving this presentation intentionally to not advocate, but to explain. It is an opportunity, and really ultimately the residents of our community decide whether or not this is a worthy initiative. So commissioners, tonight, if you could take a motion to advertise, if you'd like to move forward to the next step, which would be the public hearing, which would be similar to what we're doing tonight, but would be available to receive questions from any resident that might be interested during the public hearing.
Thank you. Okay, yes.
Thanks. So we had a discussion about this previously. So open space EIT tax is every penny, right? There's no exemption as we have today for the local tax.
Correct.
Anyone making from $0 to $5,000 would be taxed at that rate. And while I appreciate you saying residents can decide, those individuals less than 18 years of age don't get a chance to voice a vote, not able to vote. And those young people are saving for college, trying to save money for mom and dad to buy a Mother's Day or Father's Day gift. And then you have those recent graduates trying to make ends meet. So just the other side of the spectrum here, while it's a great idea, there are consequences of that. And specifically, that $2.1 million. So if you just do this for 10 years, for example, you're taking $21 million out of the local economy. That is money we're going to, if you tax up to the 0.25%, that $21 million comes out and we spend that as we choose. You're not able to do that and spend it as you wish or put food on the table or anything of that nature. If you do for 30 years, you're taking $81 million out of the economy. And that's at a 2% annual rate of increase for a salary. And the other thing, interesting note is, you can do the 50% increase in the IT tax, or local property tax will go up 38% to accommodate and make up that 2.1 million. So you get to choose another 0.25% or tax another 38% on your real estate, on your local tax. And the other point of this is retired persons don't pay. So I know in 2028, I won't be contributing to this. I'll be retired if it's enacted. Carla, you're retired already? So Carla won't have any stake in the game other than she won't pay, but there'll be open space available. Just a couple observations. It sounds like a neat idea, but there are consequences. A family making $50,000 a year, I'm not so sure wants to give up $125 a year because they're making decisions about putting food on the table, buying medicine, whatever they might need to do. It's not inconsequential. In some respects, I think we're pitting those who have money to those who don't. And we're going to go vote come November when the resolution passes in another month or so. So just some observations that I have, and I think, Aaron, you had said, what I'd like to see is this, either a vote, referendum, how we would do this. I'm not interested in buying or developing recreational property. This is open space only, and we should only enact that tax, provided we purchase a piece of property and it's in our sheet, in our ledger. And how we do that is, if next year we decide to buy a piece of property, the township could take a note. Hey, you got this property, and come November, you can enact that ordinance and start paying that debt down the following year. In this case, it would be 2028. So that's my preference, that we shouldn't enact that tax unless there's a parcel of land that we've identified and purchased, with the knowing we can follow up the following year on budget cycle to pay for that loan. That's all that I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Mike's on.
Couple of quick ones. So we've not had a referendum here in a very long time.
And so some of you may be sitting here and say, okay, what does that really, how does that all work, right? What does that all mean? And Aaron just explained all of it, but I just I think it would be important to just mention. Basically, it's kind of like the purest form of democracy, right? You're the residents. You get to decide whether there's going to be an increase in the EIT in a particular amount. And what Jerry had just mentioned, well, what's kind of advertised to be a 0.25% increase. What Jerry just suggested is that possibly what would happen is we would have the ability to implement the tax when needed, as opposed to year over year over year, which is a conversation I'm sure we will have as a part of kind of the ordinance consideration. So what we're doing tonight is, because there's a lot, Jerry makes a lot of good points, there is a really well-intended opportunity here, right, for the township that I think should be fully explored. In order for us to fully explore that tonight, what we would need to do is authorize publication of the ordinance so that in July we can have a grander or larger conversation is the wisdom of doing this, okay? So tonight, I just don't want, and I know that some of you maybe think I'm over-explaining, but tonight is not an approval of an ordinance that creates a referendum. Tonight is the approval of a publication so that we could have a hearing on July 22nd to decide whether we would have a referendum. And one of the things, I support this, the referendum, because of the kind of the democracy, the democratic notion of it. But one of the things that I'm committed to is that assuming we go to July 22nd and then the ordinance is passed, and that means there would be a referendum in November, is that I'm committed to no advocacy on my part. It is your decision. At the end of the day, the residents of Hatfield make the decision. We give you the information, you make a decision whether as a group, when I say purest democracy, it means 50% plus one wins, right? And then you make the decision on whether we're gonna have that. And it's our obligation to share with you the information of how much it costs, what the implications would be, and what we would use it for generally. And so Aaron put it together, I think, very well. I think this is remarkably well intended for us to explore the possibility of doing this, but ultimately it puts the responsibility and authority in your hands, and I think that's a great idea. So sorry if I over-explained, but I don't know how familiar people are with referendums. I actually was not until this process started.
Thank you. Again, just to reiterate, there will be education about this, but that will be in one of the later steps. So we wouldn't begin that until after July 22nd. Okay? Do I have a motion to approve letter A, open space ordinance authorizing referendum?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Andrus, second by Vice President Partha. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it has passed. We're going to move on, thank you everybody, to letter B, under action items, restriction of Jake breaks, 40-foot Wambold Road section. Ordinance number 715, motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel, seconded by Commissioner Andrus. Did we want to?
I can give a quick
Give a
summary
quick
if you don't
summary
mind,
before?
President Ostrowko. Sure, this is
He's
just...
going to have a smile on his face when he does this,
Well, the-
because this is an issue that he has dealt with for quite a while, so.
Well, there's probably people in here that have called me about this issue as I look around and see some faces, but this is formalizing a restriction of Jake brakes, which are used by larger trucks, not anybody in here driving your normal vehicle. This is restricting the use of those trucks, those brakes, specifically on 40-foot road from the Talmenton border to the Hatfield Borough border, so the stretch right in front of Lowe's in that area, as well as the new section on the new connector road, which is Wambold Road, from Allentown Road all the way to Cowpath Road. So the signs have already mostly have been up. There'll be more signs coming, but this is based on a PennDOT recommendation, based on feedback, significant amount of feedback we received from the neighbors in those areas. And this will adopt the ordinance if approved, and then can be enforced by our police department.
Okay, thank you.
Jake brakes, Tina, a question from the
Time to
audience about
sound.
Jake brakes. Should I do the sound?
It's going to make the sound.
They're loud, and it's a feature, and I don't know the technical components of them, Tina, but they're loud. They're louder brakes, which can bother some of the residents when the trucks are coming through.
It's
No.
actually the exhaust, they're using the exhaust to slow the vehicle down, slow the engine speed down.
It's
And I
air,
think
yeah.
it's air compression
Right.
system that is used for brakes instead of the traditional pads. So if you're anywhere near my house, which is why I turned to him, because I know a number of you people, or a number of folks here are in my ward and struggle with this, because we hear it all the time as it goes through Clemens. If you live anywhere near my house, early in the morning, sometimes during the day, and at night, you hear a vehicle, and Kristen's going to laugh, make that noise, right?
Yeah.
I knew you were going to love that. That is a Jake brake. And most vehicles, I think might be all, but most vehicles actually have the ability to be air brakes or pad brakes. So it's not as though we're stopping trucks from coming in. They literally just have to flip a switch and turn it from one type of brake to another. And if we pass this, and then Clemens notifies those regular drivers, and then they see the signs, we should see a marked decrease in that noise. And when they're in our town, they'll use the pad brakes. And yes, it's very loud at 6 in the morning, I can assure you.
Thank you. That was a good question. Can we take?
No.
So, part of the study, so we have a question from the audience about the safety. Part of the study that goes into this is, again, performed by PennDOT engineers. It really comes down to the grade of the road. So we're talking about all of a flat area without any grade, significant grade change. So they've determined that a truck can navigate through there safely without any issues with the Jake brakes. That's why they recommend the restriction there. If the grade change was significant, we would not have been able to enforce something like this or enact. So it is based on engineers and the topography of the road.
Okay, so it's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. We're going to move on to letter C, bid award for Sterling Drive Basin modifications. Do you want to explain that first?
Yeah, sure. I'll do a quick intro, and then Brian will just give the technical components of it, if that's okay. And he's sworn to under 25 seconds. It's a contract part of his presentation. We have a basin on Sterling Drive behind School Road Park. It's a basin that if you walk our trail along the way to Frick's, you'll see it. It's been naturalized over the years. It's actually a beautiful little scene over there. We have some upgrades that we need to make in order to meet our state requirements. Brian's going to explain what this is. But just quickly, this is paid for 100% by grant funding as well, these modifications go. So Brian, what are we doing out there?
Aaron stole most of my thunder, but
That's what I do.
the project is necessary to keep the township in compliance with the MS4 program. Bid opening was held on June 16th. We got 4 bids. The low bidder was in the amount of $119,810. The high bid of the 4 was $134,306. So we actually feel like we got a good number. One thing that is worth noting is that a grant had been awarded to the township a while back for different basin work, and we were able to coordinate with the awarding agency that we couldn't use it toward that project at that time. That's probably going to be done another time. We're able to transfer that amount, which is $160,000, to this project. So the nice thing about the bid coming in where it is that it's well under the award, the grant money that's available. So at this point, we are recommending that the township award the contract to Gordon H. Baver Incorporated in the amount of $119,810. We've done work with these guys before. We checked all the references. They're good. We feel that they're more than capable of doing the work.
Thank you.
Real quick, EMS4 regulations, that erosion, what exactly?
The MS4 program, the MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. It's been in place for probably 10 years or so. It's mostly about water quality, volume control, and just basically enhancements to runoff before it gets to the streams. and it's something it's an across-the-board thing in the state of Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to award the bid to Gordon Baver in the amount of $119,810?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeLassio,
Second.
second by Commissioner Zipfel. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it has passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we will now go on to public hearings, and I will turn that over to our solicitor, Mrs. Ponzio. This is not the public hearing for Pulte, just so you know, that will be at 7 PM. I should have said that earlier.
Thank you. This is a hearing for the intermunicipal liquor license transfer to the applicant of Sheetz Inc. Is there a representative here? Hi, could you go over to the podium for me? So I'm going to mark a number of exhibits. For the record, T1 is the applicant's request letter dated May 20th, 2026. T2 is an email to the applicant, Ray, a waiver dated May 26, 2026, and the applicant's acceptance of the waiver dated June 1, 2026. T3 is an email to the newspaper dated June 4, 2026. T4 is notice to the applicant dated June 4, 2026. T5 is the legal notice of the advertising this hearing, and T6 is the proof of publication from the newspaper. So an applicant is represented by counsel who's going to introduce himself, I assume.
That I will.
Okay, and let's make sure that microphone is on. The purpose of this hearing, we just had one a couple weeks ago for an intermunicipal transfer. It's required in order for an applicant to apply to the Liquor Control Board. This is a necessary step, and the purpose of this hearing is very small. It is to, quote, receive comments and recommendations regarding the applicant's intent to transfer a liquor license into the municipality, and that is for individuals of the municipality to make those comments and recommendations. So that's it. It's very small. And I'll turn it over to the applicant's counsel.
Well, my name's Greg Zoller. I represent Sheetz. I'm with the law firm of Kruger Henry. And before we get started, I'd like to pass out a couple of packets that I'd like to have marked as applicants Exhibit 1. It is a PowerPoint presentation, just has some background about the law changes and a little bit about Sheetz. And then there's a proposed floor plan on the back.
Okay, that's fine.
Christian, one thing. Just on one update for the committee. So who comes for the Black Bangladesh Day? So we are done with that. If you guys want to leave, then you can leave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There goes half the audience.
I know.
Thank you.
Kristen, are we voting on this tonight?
No.
Or just hearing and then voting perhaps
Yes,
later on?
next month.
Okay.
Go ahead, Greg.
All right. We're here tonight to request that Hatfield Township approve a resolution permitting the intermunicipal transfer of a restaurant liquor license from outside the township to within it pursuant to revised liquor code Title 47, Section 461B3. The liquor license would be transferred to Sheetz Inc. for use at its new store located at 1100 PA 309. As you know, the liquor code permits the PLCB to approve the transfer of a license from any municipality in Montgomery County to another municipality in Montgomery County, so long as you, the receiving municipality, issue a resolution approving said transfer. Sheetz opened its first store in Altoona in 1952. Sheetz has grown to over 800 stores in 7 states. The majority of Sheetz stores sell beer, wine, and most recently, ready-to-drink cocktails, including 293 that are already open and operating in Pennsylvania. As you know, Sheetz will be building a new store. This store will have a seating area for 30 and a walk-in beer cooler, which they refer to as the beer cave. As such, the store qualifies for a restaurant liquor license because it will have seating for 30 customers, food offerings to be able to serve 30 customers at one time, and more than 400 square feet as required by the liquor code. Sheetz will offer beer to go up to 192 fluid ounces in a single transaction. All beer will be kept in a lockable beer cave cooler. By way of a wine expanded permit, Sheetz will also sell up to 4 750 milliliter bottles of wine, as well as ready-to-drink cocktails up to 192 fluid ounces, all in a single transaction. Although the store will be open 24/7, the beer and wine sales will be limited to Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 1:45 a.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 1:45 a.m. That's for beer sales.
Can you give me Sunday again?
Sunday is from 9 a.m. to 1:45 a.m.
Thank you.
And that's for beer only. Wine and ready-to-drink cocktails will be sold from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every night, and that's required by statute. Although Sheetz would rather prefer not to sell for on-premises consumption, they are required to sell for on-premises consumption under the liquor code in order to be able to sell beer, wine, and ready-to-drink cocktails to go. Although Sheetz will allow for consumption of beer on the licensed premises, it'll be very limited. It's not advertised. It's not a substantial part of their business model. They do maintain an on-premises consumption log sheet, so if somebody comes in, they basically take their ID, they write it down, and they go ahead and they track it. All alcohol that is consumed on premises will take place inside. There will be no outdoor consumption of any alcohol. There will be no happy hours, discounted drink specials, no draft beer, no bar area, no live entertainment. The only liquor sales that they will have will be in the ready-to-drink cocktails, which already come in the manufacturer's prepackaged packages. Sheetz will card anyone who appears to be younger than 35 years of age. They will use a card scanner to identify fake and underage IDs. That is all run through their register system, so no alcohol can be scanned by the cash register without an authenticated ID. All employees will go through the Responsible Alcohol Management Training Program put out by the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. There will be dedicated restaurant manager who will receive not only the ramp manager training, but the ramp seller server training. All other employees will receive the ramp seller server training. In addition, all Sheetz employees will go through the TIPS program, which is a national recognized program. It's training for intervention procedures. All beer and RTDs will be located in the walk-in cooler. They will not be displayed on the floor or on the shelves. Wine will be displayed on a small rack next to either the register and or the beer cave. Security. Sheetz stores have approximately 30 to 40 security cameras that cover the entire store inside and out. There will be a dedicated camera both looking at the beer cave cooler door and one inside the beer cave itself. All those cameras are not only monitored by employees that are on site, but they're also monitored by the Sheetz Security Operations Center, which they refer to as the SOC. Each employee has an incident lantern, and each cash register has an incident button. Whenever either are pressed, a SOC personnel immediately brings the camera on screen and can speak directly to the employee. The SOC system stores video images for up to 7 years, and they routinely provide police departments with video in the event of any criminal activity. Sheetz has proven to be a responsible owner for years in the municipalities that it has stores in. Sheetz is making a significant investment in the township. They will protect that investment with responsible management and well-trained employees. And for all these reasons, we would request that Hatfield Township permit the intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license from outside the township to within it. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Let me just say that, number one, Sheetz has not yet gotten its land development approval, so they are being proactive in getting this step beyond them. And number two, the township has zero control or power to enforce any of the rules of the Liquor Control Board. All of the things that he said that are required of the liquor license holder are enforced by the Liquor Control Board. So although I've taken notes as to these things that he's required to do, we have no police powers relative to that. So just wanted to let you know that, if you have any questions for him.
So our only authority in the area is to either approve or not approve?
Correct. It's really, the purpose of the hearing is to make comments and recommendations, receive comments and recommendations.
For tonight, and then approval
Yes.
is the next meeting?
I have not yet seen one of these transfers not get an approval.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hey, so you can sell a case, right? 196 ounces.
No, we
No?
cannot sell. We cannot sell in case lots. What we can only sell, like for malt and brew beverages. Basically, it's about 2 6-packs. It's 192 fluid ounces in a single transaction.
So 2 6-packs can walk out the door.
Walk out the door, and if somebody wanted to come back in, they could come back in and buy an additional 2 6-packs, but it has to be in a separate transaction.
Huh. All right, so you said they can sit down and have a drink too, right?
Yes, we have to offer on premises. So for on premises consumption, if somebody came in and wanted to have a beer with one of their made-to-order sandwiches,
Right.
they could go sit in the seating area. That's the only place they're allowed to drink it. They would take the ID, they would write the individual's name down and his driver's license information. That person would be able to go in there and consume a beverage. In addition to not only having the cameras, we do have people that routinely monitor the seating area.
And what if they had a case next to them and a sandwich and a beer on the table? Can they open that case and grab one?
No.
Okay.
All the six-packs, and like if you bought a 12-pack, you would not be able to consume that. Anything purchased outside of a single, and the single beers and malt beverages and the wine that they have, it's a very limited selection for what you can drink for on premises. So somebody couldn't buy two 12-packs, go over, sit at the table, and just start drinking beers.
And if they did so,
They would be asked to leave.
You said you have a SOC. Is that a remote calling system to someone sitting where?
That's a security personnel that's off-site that are able to monitor it. The manager would basically have the customer leave.
And if not, police are called?
If it rose to the level where the employee couldn't handle it, then I would imagine that they would call the police department.
Right, thank you.
Anything else?
I just have one question. Can I ask why
Yes, Ann.
you don't ID everyone? I mean, I get ID'd at Giant. I think you had said only ID folks who look to be 35 or younger.
Under the wine expanded permit and under the RTD permits, they are required by law to card anybody under the age of 35. In fact, under the liquor code, you're not even required to even card people. The carding and the scanning of the IDs, that's basically left up to each licensee. The way that you end up sometimes with a 100% carding policy, that could be a business decision that that entity makes, or it can be mandated by the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. So if you had multiple situations where maybe minors were coming in and using fake IDs and buying it, what may end up happening is you would enter into maybe a conditional licensing agreement that basically imposed 100% carding policy.
But for right now, you're not. There's no
It's
intention
anybody
to
who appears to
impose.
be under the age of 35, and it's 100%.
Anything else? I saw a hand in the audience. Jim, can you go to the mic, or is it a short enough question that I could repeat it for you? Okay, go ahead.
How do you police consuming alcoholic beverages in the parking lot?
The question was, how do you police consuming beverages in the parking lot?
There wouldn't be any drinking in the parking lot. We would have it monitored. If anybody saw anybody drinking in the parking lot, they would be basically asked to leave. And once again, if there was an incident where the employees and the manager would not be able to handle that, then they would end up calling the local police department, just like you would find out at any store where you had an unruly customer not following the rules.
Okay, anybody else?
I do. I have another question.
Go ahead.
If someone comes in to buy a six-pack and appears to be inebriated already,
If everybody's following the policy, that sale will not happen.
okay. And if you go out in the parking lot and the guy just consumed six cans, right? He's bought a case, sitting in a car drinking, you see him, you go out there and confront them. Hey, you need to leave. And he seems to be inebriated, you do what?
They would probably, in that situation, they would most likely end up calling the police department. They do, the off-site security system, the SOC, they will go on routinely and monitor from all the stores, the inside, the outside. And that's even without any of the incident lanterns or the incident buttons being pushed at a register.
And a SOC person monitors how many stores?
They have a whole security system. I mean, we have like 293 stores in,
So how many,
in
is it,
PA.
you have one guy monitoring 293, or you have?
There's several people that work at in their security system that monitors that. Plus, you have managers. You've got a kitchen manager, and you also have a manager for like the convenience store. They're monitoring all those cameras on site. Plus, you have people that are not only inside the store, but outside the store as well.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Okay, I see none. All right, we
Well,
can close
I
the
wanna
hearing.
thank everybody.
Yeah, we'll give a decision at the July meeting.
July
Per our
22nd.
email. Yep.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
everybody.
much.
Thank you. And we will move on to establishing, this is letter B under public hearing, establishing a Human Relations Commission, ordinance number 714. I'll
Okay.
send that over to you.
Yes.
Take your time.
This is a hearing for the consideration of an ordinance that creates the Hatfield Township Human Relations Commission. This ordinance, what we've done is there's an ordinance that establishes a Human Relations Commission that many of our neighboring municipalities have already established. This isn't new. It is authorized by state statute that legislative bodies of a political subdivision, by ordinance or resolution, may establish a local Human Relations Commission. And this authority comes from the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. So directly from that act, you're authorized to establish this commission. And what it is, it's basically a place where people can come and lodge a complaint if they feel that they've been discriminated against. And this ordinance gives definitions as to what kind of discrimination. It's basically anything you can think of. And it gives a procedure as to how they file a complaint, how it's processed, how the person against whom the complaint is made is given notice. It has a mediation option, so people could come in, and it has an adjudication provision. It also has a penalty provision. Part of this is that any complaint is to be referred to the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. That means they're to be notified, and everything is appealable. If there's any adjudication that a participant is not satisfied with, they can appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. That's basically a good summary of the ordinance.
Can I make one note?
Yep.
Just one note to commissioners, if this is approved, then the board at a following meeting will appoint members to the commission. So tonight is simply establishing, and then we'll discuss next steps.
Okay.
So Kristen, what's the process? I had a couple of comments. I'm not sure if you have to open a hearing or this is just an ordinance that we vote on at this point, or if this is an appropriate time to raise.
Oh, sure. We're in a
Now's time?
hearing.
We're in it? We're in it?
Sure.
Okay. With everyone's indulgence for a moment or two, I mentioned this when this was first put before us and we publicized it. So there's absolutely no mistake whatsoever. As an individual commissioner, I fully support all the protections associated with this Human Relations Act. I used to work for the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. I have two of the greatest mentors of the two judges. I worked for them for years, and they would cast me out if I did not support the concepts associated with the protections inside, this ordinance itself. Having said that, I would like to see us make some adjustments because I don't think that the operation of as far as how it's drafted is consistent with what we were thinking originally, and that's got no reflection on anything other than this is a mirror image of what a lot of other townships have pursued. And so let me just list those real quick, and then I leave it to my fellow commissioners of whether we want to address those now or how we want to address those. And again, I'm going to say this at least one more time, even beyond this. I cannot express the fact any more so that my concern is the manner in which it's the operational considerations in the document as opposed to the protections that it affords. So for those of you who don't realize what it does, and I understand the intent of it is, it allows someone to bring a complaint to us as not as commissioners, but to a commission that is under the auspices of our authority, if there's a concern or a complaint with regard to employment, housing, commercial property, and public accommodation. Set aside the fact that I have some concern with the fact that if somebody doesn't get hired at the local grocery store or someone doesn't get a rental agreement consistent with what they want at the local place to live, I don't think that we want people in, and I don't think this is our intent. We're not trying to create experts, subject matter experts, to adjudicate the concerns of residents as if we were a courtroom or a courthouse. As I understand prior conversations and the intent, it is to provide a resource for people to go to and then arguably use a mediation process to try and resolve those disputes. To that end, if that is the purpose, I'm fully supportive of it. Some of the things I'd like to see changed There is a section under section 937-37 called unlawful practices. That identifies the concerns or the unlawfulness of certain actions. It actually makes it an unlawful practice to aid, abet, incite, or compel certain unlawful actions. And conceptually, you'd say, well, why would you want to strike that? So, I'll again bore you. This is my area of law. My understanding, not only with regard to Title VII, which is the federal law, and then Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, which is state law, and the Montgomery County Commission, which Commissioner Partha, thank you for sitting on that, is a Montgomery County law. There are 3 levels of protection that are remarkably similar to this already. This one allows, no different than the Human Relations Act, under the provision I just articulated, it says it would be unlawful to aid, abet, incite, or compel the unlawfulness. This act, nor does the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, it does not create individual liability for the alleged wrongdoer. It is for the people, that provision I just read arguably can be used as a sword against the people who work around them. Classic example is someone in HR who then fires somebody because of an unlawful act. That person in HR, not the decision maker, the person in HR who aided, abetted, incited, and compelled, arguably, they are then could be held personally liable. It is a terrifying provision that has existed for many years. It's terribly inequitable. I've never agreed with it. I find it troubling that, I don't want it in ours because we're talking about people who are doing their jobs, not the decision maker. If that portion of the act said that it was going to hold the wrongdoer with personal liability, I wouldn't be even discussing it. It's a sword against the wrong person. Second is, I really like, since we're going to have 5 members, this, and the reason I'm kind of rushing through this is because I know you're all here for something else. We have 5 members who will sit on this board. I'd like to see the board, each one of us, get an appointment. I don't know if we've ever really discussed that. The majority of our committees, volunteer committees and otherwise, each one of us, there's 5 wards, we all get an appointment. I like to see that. We do not have that as written in this draft. One of the other larger concerns, and there's no way to fix this, is the minute somebody files a complaint and then 30 days later, presumably somebody files an answer, that is a public document. I don't care the value of the claim, the severity of the claim, meaning that again, there's no way to fix that because once you file a document here in Hatfield, there is no such thing as confidentiality. The complaint and the answer could arguably be subject to the Right to Know Act, which means Bob Smith can say, hey, I heard Jerry filed a complaint against Tom. He can get his complaint and my answer, and for whatever reason, utilize that to whatever benefit or inappropriate use.
Commissioner, I actually took a look at that because.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Tell me I'm wrong.
So.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, as the Pennsylvania Human Rights Commission on their Right to Know page states that the Pennsylvania Human Rights Commission does not release records relating to a complaint filed through its Right to Know law under the non-criminal investigation exemption of the Right to Know law. The OOR has found that these records are in an investigative file not subject to Right to Know. So as far as that's concerned, I think that we would not release any of the documentation under one of these investigations.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah,
I hope that
I thought
is
you
the
would be.
status. I will tell you that when I was at the commission, we struggled with the fact that people file things and then for a lot of different reasons they would want to keep things confidential, not just the complainant, but arguably the defendant as well. So if that's going to be the position we take, and then I think that's great.
We can take that position. Any issue with someone going to common pleas or something enforcing us to that information? Do we get in a legal battle with that?
Well, that's for the Court of Common Pleas to decide, not for us. Sometimes
So-
they do seal certain matters.
So we just defer and don't get into any legal.
Yeah, I mean, we're only subject to the Right to Know laws that pertain to the township, so we would follow it, and other agencies would figure it out for themselves.
Briefly, under Section 9-37, under the establishment of the Human Relations Commission, subsection E, there's a provision that it says, the Hatfield Township Human Relations Commission shall have all the powers necessary to execute its duties, which makes sense, provided that such powers shall not exceed those exercised by the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission under the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act. The way it's drafted, my concern is that this says that we have the same authority that the Human Relations Act has. Under the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, that state agency has the ability to assign financial penalties, monetary penalties, against a complainant in certain circumstances. And I don't think that that was the intent. And my concern with that is I'm not particularly interested in having residents adjudicating disputes with regard to residents and then issuing monetary penalties against residents. One of the beauties of having the commission at the county level or the state level or the federal level is that your next door neighbor is not your judge. Your judge is somewhere else. And I think that that would be incredibly important. So if the language contained in here essentially says that this commission could apply financial or economic penalties against residents, which I think it does under the section that says penalties.
Well, the statute authorizes the commission to have the powers and duties similar to those exercised by the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. So,
right.
Yeah, they do hand local human relations commissions the same powers as the PHRC. I would think, however, if there was a situation that was grave enough that a monetary penalty was worthy, that people would go to a higher place than a local municipality to adjudicate that claim. I think they would probably have a lawyer and maybe sue in court or go to the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, as opposed to coming to a township body of people that are their neighbors, people without knowledge and familiarity with the rules and regulations and laws of the Commonwealth. So I'm not so worried about that aspect, and it's appealable. We also, they also have that ability. But the law does state that the township can operate just like the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission.
Can I take that one step further? Is this a binding mediation? Hey, if there's a dispute and I got to pay $100, can I just say, hey, forget it, I'm not doing it? Or have to appeal the decision?
It's not only is this non-binding, it's appealable, and you're not foreclosed from pursuing a separate action under the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission or in court or otherwise. So you've got lots of options. This is, I think, really for, community involvement to try to help neighbors solve problems. I think that's really the intent of this. The Human Relations Commission just handed it down and said, you have what we have, and do your best. But there's all kinds of safeguards in here in case somebody does not like the adjudication. They have the ability to appeal, go to somewhere else, or file elsewhere.
So the person who may not like it is the defendant who gets fined, right?
Mm-hmm.
He just says, forget it, I'm not paying, and walks away? He forgets about it? Or is he legally obligated to appeal?
Well, no, under the remedies provision, and this is why I'm concerned about the remedies provision, it includes not only specific penalties that could be instituted against a particular individual, but also, I think it's Section 10 or Section 11 of the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act, which is incorporated into these penalties. It allows this commission to pursue injunctive action against a defendant, or a respondent is what it's called.
It does. It has.
To effectuate either a penalty or some specific act that the commission deems appropriate that person should take. So I'm not, again, I'm supportive of the concept, supportive of moving forward with it. I do not like the idea that we have, and the 5 of us are well-intended, but the 5 of us are not going to sit in that commission. It's going to be 5 other people, and we don't know what their minds will be or what their desires will be. So my recommendation is that we strike the monetary penalty provision, and we keep this as a valued resource, as Kristen just described, for dispute resolution to the extent that can be done, the right, of course, to appeal, and more specifically as it relates to mediation of those disputes by those 5 people. So I think we're all in agreement on that. I think that this, as drafted, needs some adjustment. Whether that's tonight or another time is a different conversation, but I think it's important to say. Kristen, one last thing. You had said earlier you saw that there was provisions in here of adjudication. I saw only mediation. There's no adjudicatory process. Well, there is a complaint and an answer, right?
Well, if they have to make a decision in order to give a penalty.
Well,
you
you're
know?
right. So that's the adjudication
Yeah,
portion.
that's what I
Okay,
deem an
got you.
adjudication.
I got you. So if we struck the monetary damages and the injunctive rights, I think that then what this is focuses primarily on the mediation, intent, which I think is the primary intent. So I saw a question.
A question
Yes.
to the microphone. Oh, can you hear?
If you would have to go to the microphone if you want to be heard.
My question is it just for businesses, or if your neighbor has a grudge against you, can they file a discrimination act against you?
So first I need your name and address, please.
My name is Suzanne Markham, 1371 Welsh Road.
So, no, this is not for neighbor disputes. This is for discrimination, for people who are discriminated for sex, religion, all the discriminatory categories, and not for anybody who has, a private service. If somebody wanted to deny you service because they don't like the color of your hair, they're allowed to do that. Just like someone doesn't want to serve you a drink in their establishment, they have the right to do that. But if it's an employment opportunity or a sale of a house, something where, these rules apply, where you're not to be discriminated against, it's for those situations.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Primarily, the act was always intended to eradicate discrimination and retaliation in the areas of employment and housing. And that is the particular focus here as well, as drafted anyway.
Sandra Levine, 750 Hertford Drive, Hatfield Township. My concern, or my question is, why are we doing this at this level when we just got the county level and there's the state level and the federal? Why do we need to get involved locally? What's the benefit of it? Because we have all these other levels.
The benefit is that it doesn't cost money. You don't have to hire a lawyer. You don't have to pay fees. It's really a convenience for the local residents to have a place to go and maybe get some relief or some remedy where they don't have to get involved in a formal procedure.
At any point, a defendant could say, nah, not interested, right? And we provide them a number to call the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission or the Federal Equal Opportunity U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. A plaintiff can say, forget, I'm not interested. Or a defendant can, right?
No, I think
No.
once you're served with a complaint, you're in the process.
Right. The plaintiff can pull the plug, but a respondent would not.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Donna Bushman, 1648 Leon Drive. So I'm trying to understand this. So no Hatfield Township person would be on this committee or commission?
No, 5 Hatfield Township residents would be appointed to the commission.
5 residents
Yes.
together with no guidance from anyone here?
No, there'd be a training.
Well,
Is there
there would,
training?
yes,
Together.
there would be training, yes.
The state provides training for these commissions, so there wouldn't be influence by our commissioners. However, there would be a framework and an education component for these volunteers to learn their role.
And then this commission, if there is a problem that can't be resolved within this commission, then refers to the county?
You could go to the Court of Common Pleas or the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission.
And you all would want to know about what's going on? I mean, is there a process?
I'm not going to make light of the issue, but I'll tell you, the last thing I want to do is get involved in a dispute with regard to employment or housing as it relates to that. I would never interject myself into a process like that. not in a million years.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not,
so we
this is
just
not for the
refer it.
commissioners to be a part of at all. This is just a forum that the commissioners are thinking of establishing, so people have a place to go. They wouldn't be involved in it. They would appoint people to be the commissioners that would run that forum, but it's nothing that would involve them.
Okay, so then, would it be something where, like, how would this commission be notified that there's a problem?
There's a procedure in the ordinance about how someone files a complaint. They file it with Aaron, and there's a whole procedure from there.
And then, so this commission, would it be scheduled like a once-a-month thing? Is it just when is needed? Or
Yeah.
I mean,
It's ad hoc, yeah, when needed,
When needed.
sure.
It's pretty dry reading. I can give you a copy if you want it.
What?
I can give you a copy of the ordinance if you want it.
I would love that.
Here you go.
Thank you. All right, okay. So for knowing not what anything would be doing for whatever, I don't know, so let's go for it. I don't know.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I do. So I do support Tom's notion, that it's vital to have it. But I made the same notes to myself that each commissioner should be able to appoint a person to this commission. Not on a majority, but the individual commissioner who's elected should be able to do that. And, we get the qualification. So what's the qualification to appoint someone? And when you get to adjudication, other than we're going to train someone, right? I just don't know how clumsy that process may look or how long it may take. And so I don't know where it goes. At any time, will legal counsel be involved or hired by Hatfield Township to help the mediation process?
You do have the right to hire consultants,
Who has the right?
the commission,
The commission would have the
if
right
you
to hire a
authorize
consultant.
them, yeah. It's
Right.
authorized by the act.
So that could be however a number of times someone comes in, we're hiring an attorney, and that commission hires a specific attorney or just goes out in the or I guess, the web and finds one.
I think you could sort that. I think that you could sort that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ordinance 939F, separate, shall operate with a scope of funds which may be allocated on an annual basis by the Board of Commissioners and shall not exceed the annual allocation in a year. So how much are we allocating? Not budgeted previously.
Truthfully, I would lean on some of my colleagues to see what number would be appropriate to budget, Commissioner Andrus, but I don't know at this point.
Okay. And I think Tom stated this. There's already 3 levels of, 3 different organizations you go to. You go to Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. I think I'm saying this right because it was in the document. Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. I'm unsure why we're engaging in a process and becoming I'm going to call it a 4th wheel, when there's already established professionals who can handle this. Section, I think this was iterated already, 940-D-2. If someone doesn't like the decision, they can appeal it. And so I guess we're out of the game at that point. From a liability, does the township bear any responsibility for any liability that might occur out of this? And will our, the insurance trust rates be impacted in any way, shape, or form? Getting involved in something we're not usually getting involved with?
Kristen, I don't know that, Commissioner Andrus. It's certainly something I could talk to our carrier about, but I don't know that as far as liability goes.
And Kristen, I guess, can someone who is not happy with the mediation bring legal action against a township who's not satisfied?
You have an extensive immunity under the Immunity Act. I would say not.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question.
Doreen Halverson, 1095 Hill Street. Quick question. How are you going to choose the people to serve on this? What qualifications or restrictions will you have for choosing somebody?
Great question. It's got to be somebody who's patient, I guess, but I do not know what the criteria is and how we pick someone.
So we choose volunteers to do a lot of different things. This is a little unique because we'd probably look for people that have some area of interest and particular knowledge base. but hopefully with the training that the state would provide, that would be sufficient. I'd be concerned, I'll give you an example. If I know someone in my ward, if we do it by ward-based choices, if I know someone in my ward who's an attorney who has a sense of it, even if they're not a labor and employment lawyer, I'd probably be trying to figure out if somebody would fall into that category. And then on top of that, we always look for, I always say volunteers have to be committed and a little bit crazy to donate their time. And so that two-prong test is probably going to apply as well.
I've had residents talk to me about this, and I already know people that are interested. So people that have come forward that know about what a local and municipal human relations committee is, that would be somebody that we'd be interested in. And if one of the commissioners isn't sure, then we would say, talk to this person. That might be somebody you'd like to pick for the committee. So it's kind of this, in talking to people and knowing the community and some of our community leaders and some of our residents who have, brought this up, I don't think it's going to be a hard job to pick. Somebody's at the podium. Hold on.
Bill Allen, Brighton Drive. You asked about liability protection for the commissioners. How about the people you nominate for this committee?
Yeah.
They're going to need some kind of protection and paid for by the township.
That's a fair question, Bill. I hadn't thought of that.
And secondly, as I listen to what's going on, and I've heard this conversation in Lansdale a little bit years ago when they did it, you're putting a lot of responsibility and power into a non-elected board that can have a lot of influence, positive and negative, on people. And there's no accountability. And I question the value of doing that. Thank you.
Okay, one more. Okay. One more question, go ahead.
Sandra Levine, 750 Hertford. Just with your concern, Tom, about monetary not being part of the settlement, how do you know that a future commissioner group wouldn't amend this, whatever you would come up with, wouldn't amend the documents to include that, and then we end up with another?
They could. They could, and no different though than, I understand the concern, but it's no different than a new board can do anything at any time.
Yeah.
So creating it isn't really like a trigger for then allowing somebody else in the future to issue monetary penalties, because they could then, even if we did nothing now, they could still create the commission and then create their own penalties.
Yeah.
In fact, in theory, based on what Kristen said, the authority that we have, I didn't realize we had the legislative authority to do that or the executive authority to do that. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm suggesting we do this. Somebody in the future could create their own specific penalty amounts, not just rely on the Human Relations Act, which would be even more complex.
Yeah, I like Bill's concerns. They were good concerns about the people, liability of the people that are being the commission.
The decision makers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kristen, can you comment on that one?
No.
It's a good one to look into.
What's that?
It's a good one to look into.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a sense of how many of our neighbor communities have these at the municipal level?
I don't know what they've done. We'd have to talk to our carrier.
When you drafted this, did you base it off of other ones, or what
Yes.
did you draw upon to create the ordinance?
There's a number of Montgomery County communities that have this similar commission, and all of their ordinances read the same. There was a template put out when it was authorized under the act, and everyone's following the same template. I haven't heard of any major concerns. You're not wrong, Tom. Everything you're saying is possible. Most people don't even know that it exists when things happen, or if it exists to a level that is, mind-blowing, or it's really hurtful, they usually seek council and it gets to a higher level.
Yeah.
It's nice to have, but I'm not seeing it rise to a level with the consequences that you're talking about, but you're not wrong. It's possible.
Yeah, and there's practical realities and legal realities, and I'm sorry that we're still going on. I did not intend for this to take so much time, but the legal realities of the things that we've just been talking about, they might be very much academic, right? The practical reality is, to be blunt, if somebody has a discrimination claim with regard to employment or housing, the high probability is they're going to retain counsel, they're going to file something with the EEOC. It gets dual filed with the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, and no one even knows that Hatfield Township has a resolution mechanism. So it really is probably not a mechanism that will be often used. It would be nice to be able to articulate our beliefs as against retaliation and discrimination. And the hope, of course, would be that it would be used for mediation and resolution efforts, certainly not for any adjudication means.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the establishing of a human?
Hold on, we're going to motion to approve even with these comments? We're going to run right through those?
Well, we
can table it.
We can table it, or we could oppose.
I motion to table it
Okay.
until some more discussions had and some more.
Do I have a
work
second?
to understand it.
Thank you.
So, well, yeah, I mean, I would second the motion to table it, but with this caveat, I'd really like us to address this at the next meeting. This is something that the people who are interested are particularly interested, and I want them to understand that we've taken this serious and we're not stalling this or postponing it. And so to the extent that we can agree that we would look at these very quickly and then put this on the agenda for the next meeting, I would second the motion for table. And I got an old law school professor that says, I'm going to say this for a third time so everybody understands. It is because of the process. It's the issues, the concerns that I have with the process, nothing more.
Okay, there's been a motion to table and seconded to table this until July meeting, and that's the fourth Wednesday of the month of July. Do I have can I get an approval? All in favor of tabling this, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Okay, so we will table this until July so that we can get some more clarification. I'm going to move to our second part of, can we close the hearing?
Yes, hearing closed.
Okay. Thank you. Just want to make it official. We are out of the hearing now. We're going to move to our second part of the Juneteenth celebration. Carmina Taylor, are you ready for us? And no pressure, but a few minutes. Thank you, Carmina.
Yeah, I do want to say we advertised a hearing for 7
No.
o'clock for Pulte, and we are now 7:36.
And we're not anywhere near done.
Yeah, well, we have requirements under the MPC that we need to follow, so I would like to warn the board of that. They are in the hallway, and I don't want to keep them
What is the
longer.
requirement?
I don't want to risk holding them up. If we said 7, it should be 7. But let's do as fast as we can.
All right.
I don't want to take
Thank you.
advantage of their courtesies.
All right. Does that mean we would have to move citizens' comments to July, or they can contact us? We have to do that. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Carmina.
I have to have citizen comments.
Okay. Just making sure. Thank you, Carmina Taylor, for being here.
So it's really important to talk about the positives of Juneteenth. And what I wanted to do today is really point out the cultural aspect and why it means so much. I'll just give you a quick example. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, but my mother made sure that I had African American culture in my food and the things that I did. And so when you think about Juneteenth and why we celebrate it, imagine being enslaved for 400 years, finding out after that you were enslaved for too long. And so Black people today want to celebrate it because it does mean freedom and because we've been through a lot. So I just wanted to point out I made you some food, and I thought it was really important to make it so you could embrace some of the purposes. So I made you a Burgoo-style emancipation stew. It's a communal stew. It usually consumed about 12 gallons of food. It was cooked for 9 hours. It was never made twice because the people in the community brought meats and seasonal vegetables and spices that was relevant on hand to them. And I thought, because you guys make a lot of effort to be inclusive in this community, that is indicative of your commitment to that. And I just wanted to say that, you know, in the stew itself, a good year meant that you had beef and peppers. A bad year meant that it was made with rabbit and okra. It would feed a whole community, and the grandmother would be the one, or the elder in the community would be the one to make the stew, and wouldn't eat the stew until the last person ate the stew. And I think that's also symbolic of selflessness as we give to each other. I also made a red drink with sassafras and hibiscus, because that's a traditional Juneteenth drink, and I made you some rosewater pound cake with fresh dried rose petals on top, also symbolic of love and gesture and respect. And so I emailed Aaron a video, YouTube video, that gives all the top 30 Juneteenth foods that were made. But one of the things that I want to lastly say is that, and I've been on a journey about learning about soul food. You know, soul food in itself is when people gave everything that they had with nothing. And that's indicative of everything that relates to African American history. And so Juneteenth is really about trying to express our belief in oppression, but also offer an olive branch to everyone else to understand why it's important to us and why we need to commune together. And I think food brings that together as well as culture.
Thank you so much.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Thank you, Carmina.
Thank you. Okay.
I know.
Okay, so that will, thank you so much, Carmina. That will bring us to our township staff reports.
We have no report tonight.
Thank you.
We can move along, yes.
I know, everything will be up on our website or on the Facebook group, please know that. Solicitor's report.
No report.
Okay. The next, citizens' comments, and remember, under Resolution 1010, these are comments, please. And these are not citizens' comments for the Pulte hearing. That will come later. So come on up to the podium. You may please state your name and address.
Sandy Mussolino, 1664 Forest Hills Drive. First of all, I want to say that I attended the opening of the new police station. It was a wonderful event to see the township and the borough come together in a celebratory way. It'd be nice to do a lot more of that. It was a really nice event, and thank you to everyone. Those things take a lot of time and planning. We were at the last commissioners meeting and talked about the pool advisory board and some of the things that happened, and not all the commissioners were here, and I was asked to read what I had read before with all of the commissioners here, and I'll try to be as quick as I can. We all know the pool advisory board, comprised of both township and borough members, was put on pause for the 2026 summer season, but I think the commissioners and community need to know how this pause came about. On December 29th, I received an email from Commissioner-elect D'Alessio asking me to meet with her and our, quote, future president, Jen Lustracco. In the email, she also stated she would lead the commission on the pool advisory board. Not sure what that meant, I contacted Commissioner Andrus for clarification. My reason for contacting Commissioner Andrus was that he had been attending the meetings for several years. It seemed to be news to him as well. Unable to make the meeting dates given, I suggested we meet before or after our next meeting in February. I never received a reply. Commissioner D'Alessio arrived at the February meeting after the meeting had started. We paused the meeting so each member could introduce themselves. We were discussing the fee schedule for the 2026 season. Commissioner D'Alessio questioned the fee for morning lazy river walkers, and I explained the rationale for the fee based on a review of last year's financials and comments and recommendations from the township. A few days passed after the meeting, and I informally received word that my term on the board would not be renewed because I was disrespectful to Commissioner D'Alessio. Disrespect in this case was interpreted by Commissioner D'Alessio as me not changing my schedule to accommodate her request to meet, and me not suggesting the board change their mind on the fee schedule for 2026. Not having received any formal notification from the township, I attended the March meeting. After the March meeting, I sent an email to Commissioner D'Alessio requesting a meeting. Commissioner D'Alessio returned the email saying, quote, she was up to speed on matters related to the pool, end quote. I returned with an offer to meet just to get to better know each other. The reply I received, and I quote, there has been opportunity at our past few meetings for you and other routine members to get to know me. None have, end quote. At the end of our regular April meeting, Commissioner D'Alessio informed the board that the Pool Advisory Board would be on pause due to the end of the contract between the borough and township. After a discussion, many of the members left the meeting confused and frustrated. I stayed to talk. I was told that I could continue to meet with, quote, my friend group, end quote. I was also told that the board doesn't do anything. This was after she attended 2 meetings, and it was too expensive to have the pool manager attend meetings. After notifying the absent borough members of the pause, I learned that the borough did not know about the pause. The borough's understanding was that the board would continue to meet until a new contract between the borough and township was in place. Any changes to the board would be made after agreement of a new contract. There seems to be confusion over the pause. I'm confused as to why my term was not renewed. Was it because of perceived disrespect? The Pool Advisory Board is confused because the actions and words of one commissioner seem conflicting. Quote, the advisory board doesn't really do anything. Well, in the Hatfield Connections newsletter, this commissioner stated she was looking forward to working with the board. The borough manager and council seemed confused about this action as they thought there was an agreement with the township. At the May 13th commissioners meeting, some of the commissioners seemed confused by the pause as well, and not knowing that the pause was going to occur. Why would you pause the Pool Advisory Board when the pool is just about to be open for the season? Why would the lead commissioner choose to pause the Pool Advisory Board after speaking positively about the board in both the newsletter and campaign materials? My answers to these questions, the newest lead commissioner wanted more direct control without the burden of some township and borough residents getting in the way of decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Anyone else?
Bill Allen, still Brighton Drive. In reference to the additional tax to purchase land for open space, one of the issues that we have run into in the past is we can't buy anything till we collect the money. In the meantime, properties can be sold that we were hoping to be able to purchase. Is it legal? Is there a way that we can take out a bond and purchase the properties immediately and use that extra added tax that we're doing, use that as the collateral to pay off the bond?
We can have a conversation about that offline, but we can't answer, and this isn't a Q&A today.
Actually, you can. You can do that, Bill.
All right. Well,
You're able to enact the tax afterward.
I don't need an answer. I hope you guys if you can,
Yeah.
do it. That's all.
Thank you.
If you can do it, do
We're
it.
happy to talk offline with, if there's questions. Thank you, Bill.
Paul Mort, 282 Fortuna Drive. I'm seeking clarification on procedures that are required when a development is not being constructed in accordance with an approved plan. And this specifically relates to the Walnut Street subdivision, or as it's known, enclave at Fortuna. The approved plan called for 5-foot wide sidewalks with a 2-foot grass strip. What the developer is constructing is a 4-foot wide sidewalk on one side of the road with a 2-foot grass strip, and a 5-foot wide sidewalk on the other side of the road with an 11-inch grass strip. And I've raised my concerns to the assistant township manager, and I got this response. There were issues with the proposed sidewalk width throughout. 5-foot wide sidewalks made the driveway slope steep. 4-foot sidewalks with 5-foot turnarounds every 200 feet work better. There's a stretch of 5-foot wide sidewalk where there are no driveway depressions to worry about slope. So my question, this developer got a variance to construct a 5-foot wide sidewalk instead of a 6-foot wide sidewalk. Has the developer been directed to resubmit his plan for a review by the township engineer and eventual approval or rejection by the Board of Commissioners?
Commissioners, my office is directly involved in this matter. We are looking at this as a field change. It is true that the developer got a waiver from the requirement to put in a 6-foot wide sidewalk. As is common since that ordinance was passed, 6-foot wide sidewalks basically do not work. They don't fit within the right-of-way. It was something that wasn't contemplated when that ordinance was adopted. Between then and now, we have time and time again granted, or at least recommended, that waivers be granted for the 5-foot sidewalk. For this particular project, the way things are shaping up is if the sidewalk was built exactly per plan, what would happen is the driveway aprons, the slopes for those would more than likely cause cars to bottom out. It becomes too steep. I've had lengthy conversations with our construction managers on this, and what we are attempting to do with this situation is make the adjustments where we can, when I say we, direct the contractor for the developer to make these adjustments where we can to make sure that the driveway aprons, the sidewalk, and the situation in general are workable and practical, as well as being ADA compliant. The reason that sidewalk necks down and you have the 4-foot sidewalk and then the turnaround areas is to ensure ADA compliance. So it's something that we felt was a field change, appropriately handled as a field change. If the board feels that the developer should come back and get another waiver, I would not be opposed to that. We felt that because of the reasons I just stated, that we're trying to handle it and provide the soon-to-be residents with driveway aprons that will work and not potentially damage the bottom of their cars, as well as ensure ADA compliance, that this is an appropriate way to handle it.
Okay. Could we get your information too, so that we could have a conversation?
Sure.
Like
The
tomorrow?
assistant township manager has it.
Okay.
I don't
That's true.
disagree with any. Can you? I don't disagree with anything that the township engineer is saying. I'm asking the question: is this a situation that is worthy of the developer reapplying for a variance? I mean, he's asking for a variance to a variance that was previously approved.
Well, that's not what he said. First of all, it's a waiver. That's different than a variance. A variance is adjudicated by the zoning hearing board, much different, much harder. Okay. A waiver is something that is under the subdivision and land development ordinance, much lower burden, and that's when things don't work in the field and the board has the ability to grant those. So they had a waiver for 5 feet, and what the engineer just explained is that in the field, it made sense to make a field change. That happens. It happens routinely in construction. So in his opinion, a field change was appropriate, and we'll leave it to the board if they feel otherwise, but that's not uncommon for field changes to be made.
I'm a civil engineer. I totally understand that. I was
Okay.
asking the specific question, is this a board matter or not? That was the first clarification I was seeking. The second thing I would say is that I agree you got to make a change out there to make it work, but it looks foolish when you come into that development and one side has 4-foot wide sidewalks, the other side has 5-foot wide. Could you at least make them all the same as you enter the development, with 4 foot on one side and 4 foot on the other?
It sounds like the choice was made that taking care of the cars, bottoming out, and ADA was more important.
At the very beginning of the development, ADA is not involved. There are no slopes. That's what he's talking about. When you first enter the development, there's no slopes to worry about. So I'm particularly concerned about this because that sidewalk will butt up against my existing sidewalk. I'm the one, with the cul-de-sac that has to be removed. So it's particularly pressing to me.
Because that sidewalk meets your sidewalk, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Is the concern that you'll have, I believe your sidewalks in your portion of Fortuna, I believe they are 4 feet wide.
They are.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
So for new developments where we've had sufficient room to make this work better and provide the 5-foot sidewalks as shown on the plan, we've done that, but we've had many situations where the existing 4-foot sidewalk has to taper out to the 5 feet. If you wish, from the end of the existing sidewalk to some point you feel is appropriate, we can continue the 4 feet. I mean, but we have to ensure that there's ADA compliance and that the separation distance is where the 5-foot turnaround area has to be. So, if you wish, I can come out and meet with you. You can meet with our construction management guys. I'm not opposed to making another change, but I can tell you that we've had adjustments made before. And there are very specific reasons for making the allowances that we did. I've been the township engineer for 12 years or so, but I've also been with the township since 2006. I did not feel that this was something that was worthy of getting a waiver, a change or another waiver from the board. If you'd like to let me know what you want, we can see if we can accommodate that. But I felt that the direction we've been providing to the contractor and the developer has been appropriate and in concert with the direction we've received and the general feel from the board all these years.
Again, it's
Maybe
not
that site meeting makes sense.
I think it
is
does.
that a good
And again,
idea?
it's not what I want. I wanted the clarification. Was this a matter that had to come before the board? That was apparently answered. I would like a site meeting to talk about, as you first enter the development, can you do something about the 5-foot wide sidewalk that doesn't match the other side?
Yes.
We can do that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll
Like
see.
meeting?
I'd like to see exactly what's already been installed.
Okay.
I would rather not tell the contractor, you have to tear up that sidewalk that we told you was okay because somebody else doesn't like the way it looks. We're trying to ensure compliance with the ADA as well as practicality on behalf of the residents.
Brian, man, I meant to say, okay to meet them, have the conversation.
Oh, I don't have a problem meeting with them. Yeah, no, that's fine.
We'll talk engineer to engineer. I don't have a problem with this.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
That'll be a long.
And Scott has your info, so Brian
Yeah.
can get in touch with you.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Hi, Becky McHenry, 442 Knightsbridge Lane, Hatfield. I'm Becky. I'm with the Pool Advisory Committee. I'm going to tag team off of Sandy. Thanks, Sandy, for giving that great timeline of everything that has happened in the past 6 or 7 months now. I do want to say thanks to the township for providing a great police opening. I was unfortunate I wasn't here and I missed it, but there was lots of good stuff about it. So I'm here this evening to better understand on how the agreement between Hatfield Borough and Hatfield Township is progressing and when that agreement may come to fruition. Additionally, I am curious whether the commissioners have discussed eliminating any other committees outside of the public channels of discussion. As I mentioned previously, these committees are run by volunteers and volunteers who have invested interest in seeing Hatfield put its best foot forward for all the residents and not become bogged down in personal politics or settling scores. Last month, I was asked at last minute to assist at the Iron Knights Triathlon with parking. I ended up working a parking shift for an event involving more than 2,000 students, which translates to approximately 3,000 parents in attendance. Despite those numbers, the organization still struggled with only having 300 volunteers for that whole day. My point is that residents who are willingly volunteer their time are becoming increasingly difficult to find. The township should do everything within their power to retain and encourage those who have invested years of service to ensure that the Hatfield Aquatic Club remains one of the jewels of Hatfield Township's crown, rather than dismissing their contributions. Commissioner Patha, you also voted to disband the Pool Advisory Committee. I am curious on how you arrived at that decision. By your own admission, or you were limited information regarding who the committee members were and what their scope of what we do. You voted to eliminate the committee without attending a meeting or even asking probing questions about what our purpose and our value was, rather than by firsthand knowledge of the committee's all of our hard work. Commissioner Lestracco attended a meeting when the lead commissioner at the last minute had to cancel out 30 minutes before our meeting, so it was nice that Lestracco could step in. She had the opportunity to see firsthand of all our hard work that we do. It was encouraging to see the signs. I'm pausing. It was encouraging to see the signs displayed on Hatfield's Pride Day, proclaiming that everyone is welcome. Unfortunately, it appears that insight, experience, and contributions of the Pool Advisory Committee are not being afforded the same level of welcome or consideration. I respectfully urge the board to recognize the value of volunteer committees and the dedicated residents who serve them. These volunteers contribute countless hours for the benefit of this community, and their knowledge and their experience deserve thoughtful considerations before decisions are made that affect their ability to serve. Thank you for your time. Becky.
Thank you, Becky. All right, seeing no more public.
There is one more.
Okay.
Want to set the record straight. So Commissioner DeLassio stated at a township meeting that because the borough agreement expired, which is why the Pool Advisory Board was suspended. That's not true. As Commissioner Ziffel and I previously motioned to resume the Pool Advisory Board several meetings ago, this motion was defeated by the Democratic majority of Board Commissioners Lestracco, Parth, and DeLassio. Just one of you guys have to break ranks and decide that it's important to have a forum for residents to come to help that pool to stay the gem that it is. And also, contradictory, Commissioner DeLassio previously stated the Hatfield Aquatic Center is a non-essential service, which I believe is just absolutely incorrect. As a charter for the township, we have Public Works, Police, and Parks and Recs. They are essential services to this community, so you add value to the community, people want to come and live here. In my opinion, Democratic Board majority Commissioner Lestracco, Parth, and DeLassio have disenfranchised our Hatfield volunteers. There's no reason to disband that group. And both persons said that the Hatfield celebration, police celebration, was fantastic, and that didn't go off by our staff doing it. There were a ton of volunteers out there making sure that event was successful. Now, last week, I'm told there's a meeting that was held without my knowledge, without my attendance. I expect to be invited as a commissioner who represents 1/5 of this ward, not for someone to decide whether I should attend or not. I expect to be invited to it, as every chair on this board should expect that any board member can participate, whether it's Park and Recs, whether it's police, whether it's Public Works. Any one of us are able to attend. Respectfully, I work during the day. I'm still paying bills. So it would have to have been done sometime after 5 o'clock so I can get there. But wasn't invited, wasn't informed, which I think is a real shame. And also, Commissioner DeLassio managed to get the river walking hours extended to 2 hours rather than 1. And without board approval, without knowledge, but certainly not in the direction and spirit of which was done last year to try to close the income gap. While it may be insignificant, I know the families are paying more because the discount period was eliminated. And finally, sorry. Finally, as a city commissioner who has represented Ward 5, I can't tell you how disappointed I am and how disrespected I feel that these concerns aren't being addressed, we're not communicating, and the Republican portion of this board is being dismissed. 24 and a half years, never has myself, I know I have never done it, excluded from conversation. And I know that when the two of you guys got on the board 3 years ago, Tom did a very respectful job of gaining consensus. And so, again, as a chair, you are not the only one who is able to or should be able to attend. I have a right to attend, and I expect to be invited on hours that are accommodating to myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrus. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeLassio. Second by anyone?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zipfel. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to pause for, I don't know, a few minutes just so we can set up for our Pulte hearing. So if anybody wants to use the restrooms, they are the back, this hallway, and to the left.
Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the fourth hearing on the application of Pulte Homes of PA Limited Partnership. Today is June 24, 2026. We are going to turn it over to Julie Von Spreckelsen, the attorney for the applicant. We are proceeding with your next witness, is that right?
That is correct.
Is that on? Yep, okay. Just got to stay close to it, Julie.
Closer to it.
State spell your full name, please.
John Kennedy, Kennedy.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
John, could you please state your business address for the record?
Sure. Business address is 662 Milliken Court, Percy.
And by whom are you presently employed and in what capacity?
I am the principal and owner of Kennedy & Associates Planners and Land Use Consultants.
And previously you held municipal positions as well, is that correct?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I have served on municipal boards, but I also have municipal clients, which I still have today for the Borough of Lansdale and in Hatboro.
Okay, and how long have you been employed privately and then your municipal clients as well?
I have practiced planning for the last 46 years and had my own business for the last 36. I have served as Lansdale's planner since 2018 and Hatboro's planner since 2020.
Okay, and what is your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Design. I'm also a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners, the American Planning Association, the Pennsylvania Planning Association, the Urban Land Institute, and I think that's it.
And with respect to your private employment, can you give us an overview of your day-to-day duties and responsibilities?
Sure. As I indicated, we work for both private and municipal clients. So on the private side, we work for private developers, examining property prior to purchase, and we do feasibility studies. If they move forward with the property, then we also get involved in quite often doing zoning work for them, either approval work or text amendments. On the public side, we review applications that are submitted to Lansdale and Hatboro.
And when you say review applications,
Are
you speaking of zoning and
yes,
land development?
we review subdivision land development and zoning hearing board applications.
And is that for compliance purposes with zoning ordinances?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and have you prepared zoning ordinances, zoning amendments, that type of thing?
Yes, I have.
And have you been accepted as an expert witness before municipal bodies?
Yes, I have. Numerous municipal bodies in Bucks and Montgomery County, including Hatfield Township, where I have testified for conditional uses, for special exceptions, variances, text amendments, and map change.
And you were accepted as an expert witness in planning and zoning, is that correct?
That's correct.
And how many occasions would you estimate that you've given testimony before municipal bodies?
Probably 2 or 3 dozen times at least.
I want to show you what is marked as tab 14 of Exhibit Booklet Part 3. Can you identify that for me, please?
Yes, that's a copy of my CV.
I would offer John as an expert in planning and zoning.
Mr. Panzer?
Just one or two questions, please. Mr. Kennedy, I didn't hear you mention design work. As part of your private development work, do you have occasion to actually design by way of sketch plans for proposed developments?
Yes, we do quite a bit of design work.
That's all I have.
Any objection to being?
No objection.
Okay, if the board has no objection, I've seen Mr. Kennedy accepted as an expert in the field of land planning numerous times, so we would accept him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And John, were you engaged by the applicant Pulte Homes with regard to this conditional use application?
Yes, I was.
And what was the scope of that engagement?
I was hired to look at the property, the site, and the surrounding area. Also work with Bowler on the plan and the layout. Also, because this is a conditional use, one thing that is quite important is the appropriateness of the use at this specific location. So that is one of the, what I'll describe as the major issues that we examine in cases like this.
And did you analyze the zoning ordinance, and in particular, the conditional use criteria of the zoning ordinance?
Yes, I did.
And did you also review all of the exhibits that have been entered into evidence thus far?
Yes, I did.
And did you also look at the surrounding area? You said you've been to the site. Have you also visited the surrounding area and then also looked at market factors as well?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, you were not present at the April 22nd conditional use hearing when Chris Pazzinas testified, the project civil engineer. Is that correct?
That's correct. I did not attend the hearing.
Did you have a chance to review the transcript and or watch the video of that testimony?
Yes, I was able to do both.
Okay. So you're familiar with Mr. Pazzinas' testimony?
Yes.
Okay. So this application proposes a single-family detached dwelling cluster development, which is permitted by conditional use. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And one of the requirements for a single-family detached dwelling cluster development is to provide common open space. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And zoning ordinance section 28230.G1B states that common open space shall be designed as a continuous system of open space and shall be interconnected with open space areas abutting parcels whenever possible. Are you familiar with that section?
Yes, I am.
And is the phrase continuous system defined in the zoning ordinance?
No, it's not.
So as a professional planner with decades of experience in land planning and zoning, drafting of municipal ordinances, how would you define that phrase, continuous system?
I would define it as an interconnected group of parts that work together to achieve a goal or a purpose.
And would you agree that's a subjective phrase?
Yes, it is.
So the same section of the zoning ordinance, 282-30G1, subsection G, states that common open space shall be configured so as to be acceptable to the Board of Commissioners. Is that correct?
That is correct.
To your knowledge, has the Board of Commissioners advised the applicant what would be acceptable to the board in terms of configuration of the common open space for this development?
No.
And have you worked in your capacity as land planner and other single-family detached dwelling cluster developments in Hatfield Township?
Yes, I have.
And which ones are those?
I worked on the Westport Farm development, which I believe was 2006, and I also worked on the Walters property off of Cowpath Road, which I believe was 2020.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what we've marked as tab 16 of Exhibit Booklet Part 3. And can you identify A16, tab 16 of the exhibit booklet.
So I'd like to place an objection on the relevance grounds for the 3 plans and an additional objection based on time frame. The Westport is a 2006 plan, and the ordinance for the conditional use was adopted, at least by way of the zoning ordinance, 2007.
Julie?
Well, first of all, it's very relevant. Again, the continuous system is not defined within the zoning ordinance, and this is certainly probative evidence of what has been accepted as common open space configuration in the past by Hatfield Township. I know that those common open space provisions were in effect, and the plans were developed in accordance with the ordinance in effect at that time, which has the same common open space language in it as it does today. And it's very probative. And he also shows John's familiarity with the ordinances and how they have been applied in the past.
So I do see the regulations in G. I'm looking at the RA1 regulations, and I see Mr. Panzer's point in 28230 G. It does say that regulations for common open space was added in June of 2007 relative to the open space standards. So I think that would make the 2006 plan irrelevant. As to the other plan that was from 2020, I would see that that would be relevant.
I know this is my word.
Do you want to take a look at that?
Which criteria are you talking about? In regulations for common open space? Is that what you're saying, subsection J?
Yeah, see how it says in the code, added June 27th, 2007 by ordinance number 561? So these didn't exist at the time of the 2006 plan.
It's not an RA1. So Westport is in, hold on, I have it here. ER district.
There'd be another basis for the objection.
If the regulations are the same and it has the same language, then it's probative.
Could you find the language for me?
Yes.
I don't have ER in front of me, I just have RA1.
It's 282-22.1 regulations for common open space. Common open space in all ER residential districts shall be designed in accordance with the following standards. Subsection 2, common open space shall be designed as a continuous system of open space and shall be interconnected with open space areas and abutting parcels whenever possible.
Okay. And that was developed under the ER, is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
And your witness will attest to that, I'm
Yes.
assuming?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll overrule the objection. You can go on.
Okay, so let's start with the Walter, since that's A16. Now, this Walter development is zoned RA2, and that has 63 units, and this plan was recorded November 20th, 2020, correct?
That is correct.
Now, as you mentioned, this development is single-family detached dwelling cluster development, correct?
Correct.
Julie,
And that-
one second. Did you say it's RA2, Walter?
It's RA2.
Does it have this-
It has the same provisions.
The same language?
Correct.
Exactly the same.
Okay, go ahead.
So you said that this did require conditional use approval, correct?
Yes, it did.
And this Walter property development and the record plan was approved by the township, correct?
Yes, it was.
And this development, has it been constructed?
Yes, it has been constructed and exists today.
Okay, can you please describe the common open space area as shown on the record plan?
Sure.
A16.
Sure. There's two pieces of open space. One piece of open space is in the lower left-hand corner of the plan and is located behind lots 1 through 4. Then if we cross over Murphy Way, which is the entry road up Cowpath Road, we find another piece of open space, which then wraps all the way around all the lots on Franklin Drive and Devlin Way. The open space is located behind all those lots. The open space areas are connected by a sidewalks system, and then also crosswalks that we see at the corner of Murphy Way and Franklin Drive.
And so you have to cross a street in order to get to another area of common open space. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so those common open space areas were approved by the Board of Commissioners at a conditional use hearing, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Let's move on to A17, which is the Westport Farm overall record site plan. That is the property that is located in the ER district that we just referenced. The plan was recorded on October 2nd, 2006, and this development is comprised of 86 units. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And did you work in your capacity as land planner on that Westport Farm project?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Does the plan, which is Exhibit A17, show a single-family detached dwelling cluster development?
Yes, it does.
And was conditional use approval required for this development?
Yes, it was.
And was the Westport Farm development and the record plan approved by the township?
Yes, it was.
And has it been constructed?
Yes, it has been constructed and exists today.
Okay, please describe the common open space area shown on the plan.
Excuse me. There are a total of 9 different open space areas as noted on the record plan. To describe them, starting from the main entrance at Durstein Road and Grayson, the property is bisected by a PICO easement. So between Durstein Road and the PICO easement, there actually is no open space. All of the open space is located, I guess, to the west of the PICO easement. And that's where the 9 individual little pieces are. There's one very large piece on the top of the plan noted at 4.23 acres. And that actually was an area that was reserved as a right-of-way. The balance of the open space are small, unbuilt locations around the backs of lots. And then there is one significant piece of open space located at Garrison Lane and Grayson Drive. It's sort of an open space commons or central type open space. All of these open space areas are connected to each other by either a sidewalk system or also an extensive trail system.
So in particular on this plan, I believe it's referred to as open space E, if I'm
Correct.
reading that correctly. That is a central green area that exists and is surrounded by houses and a street, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And that common open space area that's shown on A17, that was approved by the township as a continuous system of open space, is that correct?
Yes, it was.
And it was approved by the Board of Commissioners at a conditional use hearing, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay, let's put that one away for a minute, and let's go to A18, which is the record plan for what we call the Bexley development. It is stated as Bexley on the plan. The plan was recorded December 3rd, 2021. The property is located in the RA1 district and is comprised of 36 units. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And does the plan show a single-family detached dwelling cluster development?
Yes, it does.
Was conditional use approval required for that development?
Yes, it was.
Was the development and the plan approved by the Board of Commissioners?
Yes, it was approved.
And has it been constructed?
It has been constructed.
Please describe the common open space area shown on the Bexley plan.
There is a total of 4 different open space areas. What I'll call the major open space, which is the largest, is to the south of the lots located on Holly Lane. That would be lots 1 through 20. And then there is another piece of open space located on the opposite side of Holly Lane in between lots 21 and 34. Then continuing, I guess, north, there's 2 more pieces of open space which could only be reached by sidewalk, or I don't really see any trails. I have to assume it's only sidewalk is connecting these pieces of open space together.
Okay. And was this common open space area approved by the Board of Commissioners as a continuous system of open space?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Let's now turn your attention to the common open space plan, which is Exhibit A10A. I think we have the plan if you want to put it up on the screen.
Item A10A.
This is too much. I think you had it before. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Is it easier for you to?
Yeah, this is the closest one that I have, but I can see it.
Whichever is easier
Oh, okay.
for you to reference. So this is the common open space plan that you heard Mr. Pazzinas testify to at length during his testimony on April 22nd. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
And
what exhibit number is it?
A10A.
Thank you.
In your professional opinion, is the common open space area designed as a continuous system of open space, as shown on this plan?
Yes, in my opinion, it is. It depicts a number of different types of open space, and it demonstrates that these pieces of open space are connected by either trails or a sidewalk system that continues through the entire development. It also indicates that the open space has been designed in a way that it is adjacent to open space owned by Hatfield Township, which we see in the darker green color. I would also point out that as per the ordinance, it also abuts the open space for the Del Webb community, which we would see in the upper left-hand corner. So in my opinion, this open space has been designed as per the zoning ordinance.
And is the common open space area design similar to that of other township-approved single-family detached dwelling cluster developments, i.e., the Bexley, the Westport Farm, the Walter property?
Yes, it is.
Basis.
Calls for an improper conclusion.
Maybe you could break it down, Julie, and ask it a different way.
Is the common open space area on the Pulte plan, which is Exhibit A10A, is that similar in design as the plan, let's start with Bexley, if we want to go one at a time. Let's start with Bexley. Is it similar in design?
Yes, it is similar design. It's a group of open space areas connected by trails and sidewalks. One way that it does differ is there was no township-owned land in Bexley, and we were able to take advantage of that in this particular development.
And what do you mean take advantage of that?
We were able to designate areas closer to township open space as open space in the development. So it expands the overall open space in the area.
And it interconnects?
That is correct.
Other open space area?
That is correct.
Okay. So let's then go to Westport Farm. Would you say that the common open space as designed on A10A is similar to that of the Westport Farm property?
Yes, it is similar.
And again, is it similar in the sense that in order to access common open space, one must travel across a roadway and travel on sidewalk to get to another area of common open space?
That is correct. They are all interconnected.
Okay. And then lastly, for the Walter plan development that we discussed, is the common open space area in Exhibit A10A similar to that of the Walter common open space area design?
Yes, it is. For same reasons, it's a group of open space that is connected with, in that particular job, primarily sidewalks.
Okay. Let's move on. You testified again that you watched the video of Mr. Pazinas's April 22nd conditional use hearing testimony, correct?
Correct.
And do you recall the testimony of Mr. Pazinas when he discussed the sanitary sewer line conveyance capacity and its resolution by the installation of sanitary sewer line upgrade?
Yes, my recollection of the testimony was that Mr. Pazinas had testified that there was no problem with capacity to be able to handle a development of this size. However, there was a problem along the route with conveyancing, that there would have to be some kind of upgrade to the pipe between this property and the sewer plant.
And in your extensive experience as a planner, is it common for developers to upgrade sanitary sewer piping to resolve conveyance capacity issues?
It's very common for developers to install not just piping, but pump stations and other sewer upgrades.
And does that confer a benefit to the township as a whole?
Absolutely. It hopefully tends to hold off any kind of rate increases, because improvements that are needed right away are being made and are not being paid for by the ratepayer. So if anything, it tends to extend out into the future any additional rate increases.
So sewer rate increases are not likely to occur here then? Is that what you're saying?
Objection. Foundation. This witness has no way to answer
Just-
the question.
Yeah, sustained. You can't ask him that.
I'm going to turn your attention to the general conditional use criteria. It's found in section 282-205.b of the zoning ordinance. Did you prepare a letter report analyzing the proposed development's compliance with the general conditional use criteria?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And is that report contained in Exhibit A15?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's run through this. Are the general conditional use criteria to any and all conditional, which are applicable to any and all conditional uses requested in any zoning district in the township?
Yes, anything that would be permitted by conditional use, regardless of whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, institutional, it doesn't matter. It still has to go through the same process for conditional use.
And in your professional opinion, are those criteria found in that section subjective rather than objective, quantifiable criteria?
They do tend to be subjective.
Okay. So let's go through those criteria. The first general criteria states, where applicable, there shall be market analysis showing need and impact of the proposed use. As an expert in land planning and zoning and having drafted numerous zoning ordinance provisions, what's the significance of the phrase where applicable?
It means that it would not apply to all conditional use applications.
And in your expert opinion, would this type of analysis be applicable to a single-family detached dwelling cluster development?
Typically, you would not do a market analysis for that type of development.
And to your knowledge, has any township representative advised that a market analysis is applicable and required for this conditional use application?
No.
And if it's determined to be applicable, do you have a market analysis-based opinion as to the need and impact of the proposed single-family detached dwelling cluster development?
I do.
And is that opinion in your letter report?
It is. I have gone through and done research and quoted several sources ranging from the state level, different sort of initiatives that the governor is trying, to looking at Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission information and their assessment of housing, and also Montgomery County Planning Commission and the county commissioners. They just recently, last month, actually announced an initiative or a goal to try to build 2,000 units a year. I don't think that it's any real secret in this country right now that we are in the middle of a very serious housing shortage across the board of all different types of housing. So in my mind, when it comes to need and impact, absolutely there is a need for more housing of all types to be built, and the impact would be a positive impact.
Okay. The second general criteria states that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. In your professional opinion, will the proposed use be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or welfare?
No, it will not. It's this use, which I will remind everybody in the audience who may not be fully aware of it, we are not evaluating whether residential is appropriate here. Residential is already allowed here. The only thing that we are evaluating in this proceeding is whether that residential development should be built in a cluster format or not. And that is the only thing that we are evaluating. So in essence, what we're proposing is a type of development that exists all around this property.
The third general criteria states that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the properties in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish and impair property values within the neighborhood. In your professional opinion, will the proposed use be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the properties in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, or substantially diminish and impair property values within the neighborhood?
It will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the neighbors and the neighbors' properties or diminish and impair the property values. It, in essence, is exactly the same type of development that exists all around the property at this time. As I mentioned, residential is already permitted. because this is a conditional use, the township has already evaluated that when they wrote the ordinance and thought that this would be a suitable location for cluster development.
And the fourth general criteria states that the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development or improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. In your professional opinion, will the proposed use impede the normal and orderly development or improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district?
The majority of the land around this property is already developed, but property surrounding the site which is not developed would not be impaired by the development of this particular property.
And in your professional opinion as an expert land planner, will this proposed single-family detached dwelling cluster development generate any greater impacts than that normally expected by such use?
No, it would generate the same impacts as the surrounding neighbors generate.
Okay. And is there anything further within your report?
We commented on adequacy of ingress and egress. I did also watch the video and watch Mr. Hammond's testimony on traffic and transportation. If anything, this application has been improved over the previous application. And by that, what I mean is that previously with the Palo Beach property, we were proposing to have full access from Grapevine Drive and an emergency access through Buckhorn. Since adding the North Penn School District piece, the main access will now be taken from Welsh Road, and the Grapevine Drive stub will only be used for an emergency access. So that is a significant, I think, positive change, and will also tend to mitigate the issue of traffic through the Leon Drive neighborhood.
That's all I have of this witness.
Okay. Mr. Panzer.
Mr. Kennedy, in preparing your analysis and preparing for tonight's hearing, did you focus on the March 30, 2026 version of the plans prepared by Bowler Engineering?
Yes, I did.
You used the term subjective a number of times. What do you mean by subjective?
Well, they're not quantifiable. In other words, if I have a 50-foot front yard, I can measure it, and if it's 49 feet, it does not comply. You can't quite quantify all the statements that are in the general conditional use standards, which I would add is quite typical for most municipalities.
And would it be fair to say that reasonable professional minds may differ on the application of that verbiage, which is subjective?
That's certainly possible, yes.
Did you evaluate the lot yield for a single-family dwelling non-cluster development for this property?
No, I did not.
You touched on traffic with 162 cluster dwelling units. Mr. Hammond testified using the ITE manual that 1,566 new trips would be generated per day. Is that your understanding?
I believe that's what his testimony was.
All of those trips will take access to from the property by way of a new signalized intersection at Welsh Road. Is that your understanding?
That is correct.
Is it fair to say that should you reduce the number of dwelling units by operation of math and using the ITE standards, you would reduce the number of trips?
Objection, relevance. It's not what's before this board.
Overruled.
Could you please repeat the question?
If you reduce the number of units, dwelling units, you reduce the number of trips, correct?
I'm going to also object on the basis that he's not a traffic engineer, and we had traffic testimony in that regard.
You had him testify whether or not sewer improvements would be helpful to the community. He can answer this question. It's simple math.
Well, I disagree, so just note my objection for the
It's
record.
noted for the record.
Yes, the number of trips would go down.
Are you familiar with the traffic improvements, especially the road widening suggested by Mr. Hammond during his testimony for the access point on Welsh Road?
I remember his description. I don't recall any specific details.
And you have nothing to do with the acquisition of additional real estate to make room for the widening of Welsh Road to access the property, correct?
No, that's correct.
You talk about the common open space and your opinion that you believe it complies with ordinance section 28230 G1B. You didn't have a role in designing this plan, is that correct?
I did have a role and worked with Bowler on this plan, yes.
Oh, tell me your role.
I reviewed the plan and I was asked for comments. Some comments would be incorporated, some might not for engineering reasons, but we worked with Bowler on the plan.
So you had input on how to lay out the open space for the 92 plus or minus acre plan we're looking at now?
That's correct, yeah.
So this is your open space plan design.
I would not describe it that way.
Is this what you consider an optimal open space plan for a 162 unit cluster on 92 some odd acres?
I'm going to object. I'm not sure what optimal.
You may not like the questions, but they're valid questions. He's testifying as a
If I
planner.
can object on if it's the word optimal, maybe a bit vague. Okay, what does optimal mean?
Tom, do you want to use a different word than optimal?
And I have no problem with the questions, so you don't need to say that either.
Well, he's asking questions about planning. He
And
had a
I'm
role in
permitted to
planning.
object.
Okay. Tom, can you use a different word than optimal?
I'll work on it.
All right. If not, I'll let it go. I'll overrule it. But if you have another word, please use it.
I'll attempt to rephrase.
Okay.
Given these 92 some odd acres and the request to sketch out a cluster development in Hatfield Township consistent with the ordinance, is this the way you would have prepared the open space?
I would say it would be very close to this, yes.
Okay. So on the very north side of this plan, there's an area designated as common open space, 50 feet in width. You familiar with that?
Are you referring to
above lots?
Are you referring to the lots behind the open space area behind lots 25 through 14 or 15? In other words, they back up to neighbors on Leon Drive.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You see that open space,
I
common
do.
open space designation?
Yes.
50 feet in width. Have you assessed that particular open space?
I think that it makes sense considering its context, the fact that it functions as a buffer between the neighbors on Leon Drive and the neighbors in the proposed development.
Do you recall that Mr. Bazina's testimony was to provide, to leave the existing mature trees, add a berm, add an 8-foot trail, 8-foot wide trail, and add additional plantings, all within that 50-foot space? Did you assess the viability of that proposal?
No, I did not assess the content of any of the open space. My understanding is those are elements that could be used. I'm not sure that one would want to use all of those within a 50-foot strip.
And did you assess the stormwater impact of a berm between the new development and the existing properties to the north?
I did not assess that. Obviously, that's something that would have to be looked at, I would think, probably during a land development phase when grading is and stormwater is taken into account and designed.
And at the design phase, you would contemplate a design that would provide enough buffer or area to accommodate the improvements that we've talked about.
Yes, you would have to. You would have to evaluate the area, determine which elements you would like to include in that piece of open space, and then design it accordingly.
And then if you look right in the center of the plan, east to west, there's a 30-foot common open space green belt, I'll call it, 30 feet in width. Do you see that?
No, I do not. If you could.
It runs from the top of the township-owned open space across the plan east.
Okay, now I see what you're referring to.
And it's your opinion that that 30-foot swath complies with the ordinance?
Yes, it has a trail in it.
And then at the terminus of, before I get to that, is there any, strike that, at the terminus of that 30-foot green belt, all the way planned right, there's a feature that says proposed 30-foot potential future access to Paper Street. It's all the way planned right.
Oh, yes, I see what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
So, you're familiar with the term Paper Street, right?
Yes, I am.
And are you familiar with the ordinance definition, the Hatfield Township zoning ordinance definition of street?
I'm going to object as to relevance at this point.
Overruled.
I'd like to put on the record why I'm objecting, please.
Go ahead.
So I had discussed and asserted at a previous conditional use hearing that paper streets are not relevant in zoning matters, and I had mentioned a couple cases that state that So we have the Mishner case that was upheld then by the Tobin case, which was then upheld most recently by the City of Bethlehem case. And it says, City of Bethlehem. And it says that paper streets are not relevant in zoning matters. They are private access easements. They are not streets. They are private access easements, and they're not relevant in zoning matters. Those matters are to be determined in a court of common pleas by a quiet title action.
Okay, so the holdings of those cases have to do with paper streets in and of themselves or private access issues? Is that the holding of those cases?
That's what they are. I mean, they are zoning cases, and that's what was held, that they weren't relevant to those zoning cases because they're private access rights. They're not streets.
Okay. So
I'm asking what the relevance is of moving forward with questions relating to it when they're not permitted to be determined or discussed in a zoning context.
Okay, do you want to make a proffer there, Mr. Panzer?
Sure. So first of all, my line of questioning wasn't yet to focus on paper streets, but I was getting there, and I intend to get there. I'd be happy to refamiliarize myself with Michener, Tobin, and Bethlehem, but at this point, I'm asking about the definition of street within the Hatfield Township zoning ordinance, and I'm about to ask a question about the two lots that straddle this potential future access point, and they're the ones who brought up the paper street because it's on their plan.
Okay.
So at this point, it's a frame of reference, but I do intend to talk about paper streets.
All right, so Julie, let's wait until he opens the door on paper streets and you can renew your objection and we'll talk about it then. But since he's talking about an item in the zoning ordinance, I'm going to overrule and let him ask these questions.
Okay.
Definition of street, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, I have read the definition of street.
Okay. We're going to read it out loud. Follow along with me if you will. You have it?
Yep.
Okay. Street, this is at section 282-6. Street includes street, avenue, boulevard, road, highway, freeway, parkway, lane, alley, viaduct, or any other ways used or intended to be used by vehicular traffic or pedestrians, whether of public or private ownership. Have I read that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. So this potential future access point to Paper Street would be a street, right? Under the ordinance definition.
No, I would call it an access easement.
Well, how do you know it's going to be an easement?
Objection. He answered the question.
I'm asking him the basis for his answer.
Overruled.
I disagree. I would not consider that a street.
Right. So you don't think that the potential future access point to Paper Street fits the definition of street in the ordinance that we just went over?
In my opinion, it does not.
Okay. Now, the Paper Street that it takes access to is the street on paper that runs perpendicular to the potential future access point, correct?
Correct.
Have you reviewed the 1922 recorded subdivision plan?
Yes.
I'm going to object. Again, at this point, we're getting into a discussion of paper streets, which are not relevant in zoning matters.
Well, Mr. Panzer's brought up the definition of street in the zoning ordinance. And I think where he's going is, do those streets on that plan meet that definition? So I think it's relevant.
That's exactly what the case law has held, that is not relevant because they're private access rights.
Were those cases interpreting the zoning ordinance of those municipalities?
Yes, City of Bethlehem, the latest one, 2023.
Well,
it was talking about exactly this type of issue.
Did it have the exact same language of our zoning definition?
I don't know if it's the exact same language, but it was close. But they're private access easement rights. if we can go back to the 1922 plan and talk about it. So in 1922, these paper streets were laid out on a plan. They were not accepted by the township for dedication. They were never opened. They were never used. So the public's right and the township's right to accept dedication and the public's right to use them have expired decades ago, decades and decades ago. And what is left are private access easement rights. That's all that's left.
I agree with you completely. However, the township has a right to enact a zoning ordinance, and the township has a right to enforce the provisions of the zoning ordinance, which includes provisions that Mr. Panzer is about to get to, I'm assuming.
And how can they do that? Police power, right? So it's the police power. Police power can't enforce private access easement rights. You can't enforce, the government can't enforce private rights between two private landowners or a bunch of private landowners that all were part of the original 1922 subdivision.
So, okay, I understand exactly what you're saying. Mr. Panzer, do you have a response?
The response is that the applicant is attempting to extinguish or prove that all rights have been extinguished to the paper streets through the quiet title action that Ms. von Spreckelsen mentioned. At the same time, they're showing paper streets on this plan and showing potential future access to the paper street from the subdivision. I think for a number of reasons, those two issues make the paper street question relevant.
I just want to clarify, so we're not trying to, the applicant is not trying to, and Pulte's not trying to extinguish all of the paper streets that comprise the 1922 subdivision plan. What Pulte has brought a quiet title action is to extinguish the rights within the Pulte property proper. So not outside the Pulte property. Nothing outside the Pulte property is looking to be extinguished in terms of the paper streets. It's all internal to their property.
Well, so far his questioning has been on the outskirts of your development. So,
Well, he was saying a connection into, and then he started talking
Well,
about
he-
the paper streets that existed outside of this development that we are not touching.
oh, he's asking questions about what's labeled on your plan as a street, as an avenue.
There's nothing.
It says Second Avenue. So I'm going to let the questioning continue, and if you can keep renewing your objection as he gets to spots that you think is traversing into private easement rights. Okay?
The paper street running north to south is Second Avenue. That's
Which,
There is no
there's
label
no
that says
label
Second
on the
Avenue.
plan that-
on your plan detail, one of your other plan sets from March 30, 2026, for the North Penn School District properties, it's labeled as Second Avenue.
A10A. If you squint, you can see it on the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, but that again is outside of this.
But that's what he's questioning about. That's why I'm overruling your objection. I'm going to let him ask questions about that.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify that they're not trying to extinguish any paper streets that are outside of the development.
Understood.
And Mr. Kennedy, are you aware whether the potential future access point to the paper street is actually overlaid on an existing paper street? Are you aware?
No, I'm not aware.
So you haven't assessed?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You haven't assessed this plan against the 1922 plan?
I have not directly compared them and superimposed them, no.
And your level of involvement in design or design critique did not include that point, correct?
That is correct. This is where we had to accommodate many other factors, mostly engineering factors.
And if you look at the plan that's on the board, 810A, that access, the proposed access, runs across follows the direct line across the property through that 30-foot wide common open space to the township's open space. Is that correct?
I think we're talking about two different things. I thought we were talking about a piece of an area labeled access point that's in between lots 132 and 133.
Yes. Yes.
And
am I off by?
You have lost me. You have lost me.
Let me move on. There is to the north an additional access. It's an access easement. Are you familiar with the proposed access easement for emergency access?
Yes, that is correct.
And is it your understanding that the easement in question is 20 feet wide?
Yes, that is what the plan says.
Is it your understanding that the easement would be shared access? That is, it's currently used as a driveway or by the property owner. Is that your understanding?
I am not sure if it is currently used by another person, but if that is the case, it would have to be shared.
And have you been on site and visualized, seen this access easement?
I have seen the easement. I have driven all around this property and been on the property. There are no lines indicating where the easement is.
And is it your opinion as land planner that that particular 20-foot wide access easement is appropriate for emergency access?
20-foot wide is, yes, it is adequate for emergency access.
Well, that's the easement size. What's the driveway size? Any idea?
I have no idea what the driveway is. That would depend on what the requirements of the fire marshal would be.
So I'd like to talk about these stormwater basins for a minute. There are, on that same plan, two large basins planned south, closest to Welsh Road, one on the east and one on the west. Do you see them?
Yes, I do.
And let's just take the one on the right. When evaluating where to put a stormwater basin, is it a consideration for addressing potential overflow?
I am not an engineer, but I would assume that that is one of the things that engineers have to evaluate when they decide to design a basin in any location.
And in your capacity as a planner, is that something that you would be aware of, propose, be part of a discussion on?
We would typically be part of a discussion, and we typically do suggest some areas where stormwater management may take place, but ultimately it's the engineer that designs it and determines what the size must be.
And the sizing of the basin would undoubtedly take place during the land development process, which would be the next phase if the project moves forward, yes?
That would be correct.
But as to the location of the basin, are you in a position to form an opinion whether the basin overflow toward the adjacent tributary would be appropriate or inappropriate?
I can't really say one way or another on that.
Okay. And you wouldn't know what type of approvals, whether DEP approval would be required for that type of design?
No, that would all be Bowler Engineering.
And the basin to the left, Plan West, is similarly situated next to a tributary or water feature, yes?
It is, yes.
Now, if you go north on the plan, there's a basin surrounded by lots 32 through 42. Do you see that one?
Oh, yes, I do.
And as a planner, would you suggest that the basin be placed where overflow may not be handled but for on adjacent residential properties?
I'm not sure that I understand your question.
Where would be the overflow for the above-ground stormwater basin adjacent to those lots I just mentioned?
I would think there would have to be some kind of drainage easement, probably through Lot 38, to be able to get to a discharge point near the stream corridor.
And from a planning and design standpoint, that would be an appropriate design, in your opinion?
It may be. It depends on, there's many other factors that come into play as to where streets and lots and basins are located.
Now, there's another basin to the east of that. I don't have the lot numbers, but the lots up in the right-hand corner. There's a basin between the existing neighborhood and those residential lots. You see it?
Yes, I believe you're referring to the basin behind lots 56 through 62.
And where would the overflow from that basin go?
You would have to ask Mr. Pizzina.
Okay. You focused on those three prior land developments, I suppose in an effort to say that this is the way Hatfield Township interprets the continuous aspect of their open space. But you would agree that every property is unique, is it not?
Every property is unique.
And the lots that you talked about in those three plans are all of a different size than the Pulte plan that's before us now. Is that correct?
No, that's not necessarily correct.
How about size, shape? How about shape? Different shape?
The shape of the lot or the shape of the tract?
The shape of the tract.
Yes, the shape of the tract is always important. It has a major impact on the layout of any design.
And to bounce around a little bit, you talked about the continuous open space system using sidewalks as the connectors. Are you aware or familiar with any design standards for connecting multi-purpose trails?
No, I'm not.
And would the connectors for these open space trails need to be ADA compliant?
I would think they would need to be ADA compliant because they do intersect with sidewalks and streets.
So at a minimum, there's a design standard, right?
That would be one of the design standards, yes.
When you talked about your market analysis, you indicated that no one told you it was not required?
I was asked, was I told that a market study was required? And the answer was no, I was not told that a market study was required.
But the ordinance tells you it's required.
Where applicable, yes.
So someone needs to determine what's applicable, yes?
Yes.
Those are all the questions I have of this witness.
Okay, thank you. Next, we go to parties. Anyone who has party status, it's your turn to ask questions of this witness if you have questions. And if so, please go to the microphone. Anybody? Oh, we have to bring a mic over, so give a sec. Tell me your name so I can look on the list for you, please. Oh, Donna Bushman, okay. Was she leaning in and there was no mic?
I'm like talking to the whole.
Donna Bushman, right?
I forget my name, yes.
Okay, go ahead, Donna.
Do you need my address?
It's 1648 Leon Drive.
Yes. So my question for somebody.
It's Mr. Kennedy is the only person answering questions right now.
And that's the one with the microphone?
That's the gentleman who's been testifying.
Okay.
There you go.
So the open space trail thing. I'm understanding that you say that it's okay to have open space and trails connected to sidewalks.
Correct.
So is that like should that be have a starting point and going around and having another coming around an ending point? Or should it be a starting point and then an ending point, but then you have to turn around and come back to connect to another point? Would that be applicable for a trail with open space if it's only like one way? And then after you want to come out of it, you got to go back around and come back out?
I'm not sure I completely understand your question.
Okay. The one all the way at the top.
Okay, backing up to the lots on Leon Drive, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
So you walk around and you're on the sidewalks, right? You're kind of walking around, you go, oh, there's a trail, right? So you make your left onto the trail and you go up. But you can't go anywhere except turn around and come back down the same way that you went. Is that considered a trail?
It is a trail because it's a paved walking surface. The trail does not continue because there is a stream there. And under the definition of the open space, it would not need to continue anyway. The area of land considered open space is all connected, interconnected together.
Do you have another question, Donna?
No, I just think it's weird.
Okay. Anybody else who's a party that has a question? You have a question? Yeah, go down and help Patricia. Hang on, Patricia. And this is Patricia Martinez. Patricia Houston Martinez, 1807 Welsh Road.
And I'll read. Kristen, you're okay with that?
Yep, read it.
Okay. First question, how is $800,000 senior home needed? Continue. Don't you think low-income housing is urgently needed considering the homeless in our community?
I agree that affordable housing is needed in our community. I believe I started by saying that housing across the board in all categories is needed.
Question two. Am I okay with another question?
Is there another question?
Yes. How is putting an average of 1,566 cars passing in front of my house every day an improvement for my safety and quality of life? Did I get that? Okay.
I would just object to the quantity and the number. I don't remember that being that testimony of the traffic engineer.
I
So
think they
it's-
were trips, not cars, right? Which is a difference.
Yeah, and also the word average was thrown into the question, and I have no idea if it was truly an average that Mr. Hammond talked about or not, so I can't really answer that.
That's fine. If he said he can't really answer it, that's fine. Anything else?
Can you please give me the average square footage of the open space in total?
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. Can you please give me the average square footage of the open space in total?
Do you mean
I
each piece of open space?
Don't know
Or
what that
all
means.
of it? All of it, a total of all the open space?
It's on one of these. The total open space, as defined by the ordinance, is 31.596 acres. So that is only the open space as defined by the ordinance. There are some additional green areas.
Anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you move the open space so I don't have traffic outside my house? In other words, can I please request open space in front of my house?
I don't know where your house is.
She's at 1807 Welsh Road.
I can show you. I'll show them. You another question? Good?
No.
Kristen, the statement. Okay. I think we're done with questions. Here's a statement for later, I believe.
Okay.
I can't really answer that because I don't know specifically where that property is.
Is that something you could look into? If we let you know where her property is?
We could look into that, and again, we are only here to discuss the use in terms of any kind of finalized design, in terms of buffering or moving where the open space is. That could take place in land development. Mm-hmm.
So, Patricia, what they're saying is if they get past this conditional use portion of the project, they would move into land development, and that's when they really design, do the hard engineering, and it's at that time that they could take a look at maybe moving some of the open space around your house, okay? That's your answer, right, John?
That's correct. We did that during the Del Webb process.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone else have questions? Who's a party? Okay, I see no hands. Are you a party, sir? Yes. I guess you're not. Sorry, you can't ask questions. Yeah, she's a party. Okay. Board, we good? Oh. Is he coming back? Oh, okay. We just take a minute. We have a commissioner missing. See if he has anything. Okay. Okay, Julie, board has no questions, so are we done for the night? Do you want to go to your microphone?
Sorry. We are finished. No redirect.
No redirect. Okay, great. Scheduling. Aaron really wants to have the next meeting on the third Wednesday, which could be a problem, but I'm throwing it out there. As you can see, we have a hard time getting through the agenda in an hour, and I know that jammed you guys up tonight, and we don't want to do that again.
Or the 2nd. And truthfully, it's whatever works for the commissioners and the applicant, but having it on the same night as our meeting is problematic, as we've discovered now for the last 3 months. So it could, on the 3rd.
Tom, I know you've been holding the fourth Wednesday, and I don't know what the rest of your calendar looks like.
Is that the 3rd?
Not as good as the fourth Wednesday.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's right, you're right, yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Whatever
Why don't
works
we
for you
move
guys.
the commissioner meeting to the third Wednesday or the second Wednesday? I mean, if they have a problem.
I can do the third Wednesday if we start in August, but my July is booked.
Yeah, because we all been holding that one. Maybe we can move the commissioner, the regular meeting.
Let's go. Skip July. Let's see what she says. Let's go to the 3rd.
Without your client hearing me, any chance you want to skip to the line?
I don't think so.
Where are we?
I'm sorry?
Where are we?
Where are we?
Do you have more witnesses, arrests?
Right, I was just going to say that. At this, at this juncture, I think that we're going to rest our case. I'd move all my exhibits into evidence, and then I just reserve my right to rebuttal.
Okay. You have any objection to any of the exhibits? Do you want to reserve your right to object to them? We can hold off on that if you want time to review them.
If we can do that first thing at the next
Yeah.
hearing, I'll go over them. But I don't think I objected to any of them coming in except the 3 plans. So I'd
Which I overruled, so,
yeah.
okay.
So I would renew that objection for the record, not expecting you to change your opinion.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
So no other objections.
Can we
Okay.
get an idea about witnesses and cases and who's putting on cases in terms of the parties, in terms of the township?
I'll extend the same courtesy you've extended to me.
I did tell you. I told you every hearing, I was asked by Ms. Pianzio who I was going to be put on and who was expected to testify at the next hearing. So yes, I did.
When I figure it out, I will extend the same courtesy you've extended to me.
I did.
Okay.
I
Do
told
you want to go off the record and talk about scheduling? So we're not filling the record with this chatter?
Sure.
Is that cool? All right, let's go off the record.
It would help in terms of being able to schedule, to know how many witnesses who, he doesn't even have to tell me who he wants to have testify, I don't care. But I'd like to know number of witnesses, how long this is going to take, if the parties are going to be putting on any type of case.
I think,
He's putting a case on, I would assume.
yes, I intend to, but as I just stated, I haven't assessed how many, who, and when, in what order. So when I do, I will communicate that to Ms. Von Spreckelsen.
Okay. What about the next meeting? Let's get that figured out.
Can we do the 4th of the same?
Say again?
The 4th Wednesday, since Mr. Panzer is better for Mr. Panzer, the 4th Wednesday?
Well, it's better because I blocked it off.
Right.
But if you want to do a short night on July, the 4th Wednesday in July, I have that blocked off. It's up to you.
We have a big agenda for
All
the
right,
regular
no
meeting
worries.
for July, which is the 4th Wednesday. So we're trying to avoid what happened tonight and rolling into a 2-hour meeting when we only had an hour.
Understood.
So that's why we're looking at the 3rd Wednesday
In August.
in July.
I cannot do that night.
Oh, okay.
Right, he
So
said
we have to
3rd
do,
Wednesday in August, is what Tom said. Can we wait until then?
wait, I don't know that I can do this 3rd Wednesday.
What's the proposal?
Right now, the 3rd Wednesday in August, if they agree.
I can't commit to 3rd Wednesdays.
Can't commit the 3rd Wednesdays?
Let's stick with the 4th. That's what we gotta do.
We would like to have a meeting in July to keep this moving, even if it's a shortened meeting. We'd like to keep it moving.
I need to keep with the 4th Wednesdays too, now that I'm looking at it.
For July, we had the Chapman scholarships. The
Could you
kids
do
were
that on
notified
the
of the
3rd
night.
Wednesday?
Yeah, high school kids have already scheduled that night, Chapman scholarships. Everyone's coming in that night.
What else do we have to do that night?
I haven't got that far ahead. I mean, maybe we do the hearing at 8, the regular meeting at 6. 6 is hard, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we did 6:30 to 8. Can the commissioners make 6 o'clock on the July 22nd, like we did tonight? The same night as our, yeah, but I know 6 is hard sometimes for you guys coming from work. And then maybe we do a 7:30 hearing to give us a little more time
Yes,
to get our business done? Is that,
absolutely.
That sounds like a good idea.
is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, let's go back on the record. Oh, there you are. Where'd you go? All right, we just went off the record and discussed scheduling, and after discussion, we agreed that we're going to continue this hearing until July 22nd at 7:30 PM. Note, residents, there are no more communications. Everything is announced here, so tell your friends. Aaron, you post it,
Email.
right?
I send them an
He
email.
sends an email to remind people. Ms. Von Spreckelsen, that's okay with you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Panzer, okay with you?
Yes.
Everybody in the audience, everybody good? Everyone's nodding their heads. Okay, so a motion is in order to continue this hearing until Wednesday, July 22nd at 7:30 PM. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So carried. Thank you, everyone. See you next month.